From the high desert and the great American Southwest. Bid you all good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever the case may be, wherever you are in the world, all of which is covered by this program, Midnight in the Desert. My name is Art Bell, and we're going to have an interesting evening, I can tell already. The outer limits of Edgar Cayce's power and the mysteries of Atlantis revisited. Here is Edgar E. Cayce. Edgar, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Art.
It is such an honor to have you on. Do you do many interviews?
I did one last week. I don't know if I do so many. I do that now and then.
I barely know where to begin with you. Radio's wonderful. We have the luxury of time with radio, and we don't have to do anything too quickly, or nothing's really pre-planned. So I think what I'd like to do is to ask you everything you can remember about your father.
I don't know what I'm talking about after that,
Were the two of you close, Edgar?
The whole family was very close, Art. Dad was a very ordinary person in everyday life. He loved to work in the garden, he liked to paint, he liked to play games. He was a very good carpenter. He was bath, shelves, and doors. He built a garage in one house we lived in. It was just those 30 to 40 minutes once or twice a day when he was able to put himself into a self-induced hypnotic trance of all debts and bursts, and he'd go to sleep.
How did it begin from? How did he, if you know, how did he even realize that he had this?
Well, it all began before my time, Art, so it's sort of hearsay, but I've heard Dad and family talk about it.
Well,
He was a young kid.
that's what I'm trying. It's a good close hearsay, the best we're going to get. So tell us what they told you.
All right. When he was a child, he had some rather strange experiences. For example, he wasn't a very good student in school, and he was having trouble with his study lesson one night. And his grandfather got impatient with him, and finally, I thought, if you just let me think about it, let me just study it a minute, and I think I'll know everything. And as far as the art, very roughly went out of the room, and about 5 minutes he came back. Meanwhile, Cayce had laid down on his head on his study book. He was all asleep for 5 minutes. When he woke up, he knew every word in the book and what page it was on. And went on. Instead of a poor student, he became a very bright student.
That was at what age?
Well, that was about when he was in school. I guess that they had schools there and up to about what would be equivalent to the 7th or 8th grade, the kind of one-room schoolhouse.
So in other words, he actually slept on the book and absorbed it.
That's what it sounds like. Later on, when he was a young man working in a bookstore, he lost his voice. He couldn't talk at all. Of course, he wasn't much of a salesman when he couldn't talk.
No.
And all the doctors in town, he'd been to everybody, and none of them seemed to be able to help him.
Sounds like Gordon Michael Stallion.
And all the doctors around sort of knew past it, and somebody suggested that, why don't you try a hypnotist, and maybe he can give you post-hypnotic suggestions such that you'll be able to talk when you wake up. So Dad tried it, and there was a medical doctor and several people in attendance when they tried this experiment. And under hypnosis, he could talk a little bit, but he wouldn't accept the post-hypnotic suggestions from the hypnotist. And when he woke up or came out of his trance, he still couldn't talk. The hypnotist suggested, he says, this is such a good subject, he says, maybe you can put yourself into a hypnotic trance, maybe you can give yourself the suggestion, maybe you'll take it from you instead of me. When Dad was willing to try it, he laid down and immediately he was able to go to sleep or put himself into a hypnotic schizophrenic. He didn't remember anything he said at the time, but he described his condition and said it was due to suggestion in the throat. He said, we'll clear this up. And he turned real red, his face got red, his throat got red. He coughed up a little blood and woke up and he could talk. And as far as I know, that was the first reading. He wasn't on to himself. And of course, the doctor, there was an MD there, Dr. Ketchum, who said, well, hey, if you can do this for yourself, maybe you can do this for some of our patients. And Ted was always willing to try to help anyone he could. And he tried giving readings for other people, and he was very successful, very active readings, and that's how he developed God's his ability.
About what year would all that have been?
So this was way before my time, and when he was about 20 years old. It was back in the late 1800s.
The power of healing is one that I believe in very strongly, and that's a remarkable story. He coughed up blood, and he regained his power of speech. In other words, he cured himself.
He cured himself. That was the first so-called read. I think the word read, lack of a better word, to describe what he did.
Well, what he did sounds like diagnosis and treatment.
Well, that's true. That was his main focus of his reading was a physical reading. He gave over 14,000 of these readings in his lifetime, and about 60% of them were diagnoses of other individuals' physical conditions. He didn't actually treat the condition himself, as he did for himself there.
He did diagnosis.
He did diagnosis.
14,000 of them, that did?
Over 14,000. I think 14,470 something like that. There are copies of these readings. That's the Association for Research and Enlightenment in Virginia Beach, with the doctor's reports, the patient's reports, and of course the people who didn't follow it didn't get any results. If people followed them halfway, they got halfway results. And if they followed them in detail, they got excellent results.
By that you mean the diagnosis, and then your father would recommend to them a course of action?
That's right. He would suggest a course of treatment. It varies. That was the thing. He didn't stick to any one particular thing. I mean, sometimes he would recommend an operation. Sometimes he would recommend a diet. Sometimes even the osteopathic chiropractic treatment, which didn't set well with the orthodox. But sometimes he would describe compounds or herbs that he would give the formula for to make it up.
In other words, you could probably sense deficiencies of one sort or another in somebody's dietary habits. Or, did your father ever describe the precise way that he was able to discern this, or that it came to him, or was it a mystery to him?
I think it was a mystery to him and to everybody else. Of course, he was asked questions about it, and some of the answers sounded strange as the stuff. He said that this was an ability that he had inherited in a previous lifetime that he had done before. It sounded like an ability or talent that was developed. Now, this idea of reincarnation was something that came up much later in the early 20s. I was born then, and probably was taken high. Someone suggested, wanted I guess they call it an astrological reading. You know what effect the stars had on a person's life.
Right.
Well, the stars didn't have as much effect on anybody's life as his previous lifetime. He proceeded to describe this person's previous lifetime and the effect it had on his present life. Now, when he woke up and heard what he said, he was as astounded as anyone else. He didn't know anything about reincarnation at all. He didn't realize that many people in the world believed in it. But he always said if he ever gave a reading that hurt anyone, he'd never give another. But he never did. And some of the life readings, he was vocational attitude, he was helpful. And some of his physical readings.
Did he get any information on who he had been in a previous life? How much?
He did. It was a long time ago, several previous lifetimes. I don't remember all the details, but now you can, there's a book, a recent book that Richard Titus, I think, has mentioned some of his previous incarnations. So.
When did you become aware? How old were you when you realized your dad was different?
Growing up in a family is a little different than being exposed to this from, all of us from their side. And when I was real little, excuse me, I thought everyone's father could read. I guess the first real vivid experience I had with it was a reading on myself. I was about 7 or 8 years old when we moved to Virginia Beach. And I was standing in front of a fireplace in a bad flannel pajamas. And a spark popped out and set those flannel pajamas on fire. And it burned up with real quickly. And my mother, coming down the stairs of the church, grabbed me and wrapped me around the pajamas and put out the fire. But it burned my left leg very badly. I've let it for about 4 or 5 months. And the doctor never looked at it. I asked Dad to please give me a reading. He did immediately and described what to do for it. And,
What did you do for him?
well, it was one of the things for watching with, I think it was Huntington that preparation. Going into a very good bird. As it began to heal later, it began to grow across, so I couldn't straighten out my leg. He told me what to rub on, what to do to straighten it out.
Wow.
It did straighten out. I played football, basketball, baseball, and I through college, and it done wrong at all. He even gave me something to remove the scar. I rubbed it on for a while, and then I decided I couldn't see it, and I didn't really care about it, and I quit doing it. I still have a scar on the back of my leg, but I had to be the original one from my ankle to my butt.
Okay, well, you regarded this then as a normal thing. But at some point in your life, you had to realize Dad's a little bit different than everybody else.
There's no question about it. And that was one of the things that got me into writing the first book. I had a life reading also. Not every life reading he gave I mentioned that. Of the 14,000 readings he gave, about 2,500 of them were the so-called Confucian guidance readings for life readings. About 700 of them, maybe almost a third, didn't make any past incarnation of people in Atlantic. Well, Atlantic is just a myth. It's just many people still. It is very true that it ever existed. There's no proof that it never existed either. So I thought I could go down there and we have copies of all these readings through the stars of Virginia Beach. At that time, they were on microfilm. And just to put on to preserve them. When the dad gave a reading, a copy was given to the patient and a copy was kept on file. I said I could go down there and maybe look up all the life readings on his life and find some proof that it either existed or didn't exist. At that time, I didn't care which way. I didn't want to know the answer.
Sure.
So I said, well, I could probably do this in a few weeks. That was a very naive idea. About a year later, I had read every life reading on the night that I could get my hands on. And the amazing thing about it was some of these readings, 50 years apart, they didn't contradict each other. And it wasn't that he gave a reading on Atlantis, that he gave a reading on a person, mentioned the incarnation in Atlantis, he told that person characteristics, life, how it affected him now. And by putting all those little pieces together, trying to arrange them in some kind of chronological order, that's what came out of that book. So it turned out to be very successful. It came out in 68. It's still in print after 30 years.
And what is the name of it?
Education on Atlantic.
And
now we got an update. The Mystery of Atlantic Revisited.
yes.
When he gave his reading, this was before radiocarbon days. And many of the statements he made back in the 20s and 30s, when many of them were given, sounded ridiculous because the ideas of theology and archaeology were quite different
Yes.
then than they are now. And when he said that man had been in North America 10,000 years ago or 20,000 years ago, and in South America even longer, so that the poles were shifted in the past, all kinds of things like that, well, it sounded ridiculous. But now, with radiocarbon dates of 17,500 in Pennsylvania, 20,000 in California, 35,000 in South America, turning out out that man wasn't in the places that Eddie Casey said he was, and he died he said he was. So it kind of stands to reason that if statements like that were true, he made the statement one time that the Nile River used to flow west into the Atlantic. That was 60 years ago. And of course, they went anyway to prove whether the Nile River flowed into the Atlantic or not. That's millions of years ago. But in 1987, when they took the pictures from the space shuttle of the ground penetrating radar with the Sahara, showed that the only course of the Nile was west into the Atlantic, which was actually where Casey said it was.
When you did all this research and you researched these people who had been said to have prior lives in Atlantis, what kind of proof did you run into or corroboration? For example, people who may have known each other or references that could be checked from one person's reading to another person's reading, that kind of thing. Did you?
That's the thing. I call it the internal consistency of the readings. The fact that the one reading didn't contradict another. A reading given 20 years later was just like a different person.
But did you find places where they corroborated each other?
Oh yeah, like the time that he was very seldom that he mentioned dates unless somebody asked. He didn't mention 2 or 3. Now the origin, the myth or Atlantis or the story of Atlantis originated from Plato back in the 5th century BC. He described it as he said that Solon, someone who had been in Egypt, and the priest in Egypt had described to him this civilization that existed in they call it beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which was the rock of Gibraltar and another mountain on the other side of the Mediterranean. The entrance to the Mediterranean from the Atlantic. He said it was beyond the Pillars of Hercules, under the South Atlantic, and it was a great civilization and very advanced, and it had been destroyed in an volcanic catastrophe 9,000 years early. So that put it in the class of a myth, because nobody believed that they had been in a situation that long ago, around 10,000 BC.
That's right.
And this Plato's story, there's been thousands of books and pamphlets written about it. Some of them trying to amass evidence that Plato was right, and some of them trying to prove he was wrong, and some of them trying to rationalize the story by moving it to a different location or changing the date. And the thing that convinced me about it was the fact that Dad said that people had incarnations there, and he was so accurate in his physical reading, and he was so accurate in many of his other life readings, describing the characteristics of the person, and the kind of occupation they have, the problems they have with their family. The other readings have been accurate. Things he said in the other readings about geological and archaeological events in the past.
That kind of came later, didn't it?
Right. He has been so accurate in that, why, maybe there's some truth in the
Maybe there is. I think that your father suggested there would be something called the Hall of Records found beneath the left paw of the Sphinx. Is that correct?
Right.
When your father went under, he was called the sleeping prophet, but from what you've told me, it sounds more like he was a self-hypnotized prophet who would go into sort of a hypnotic trance.
Well, that's true, and I don't really think of him as a prophet art. I think I know he didn't really go to sleep and say that this is going to happen and that's going to happen. He always said that the future got fixed, you can change it. And that's I think it's a hopeful statement rather than something that's But he did mention these things that had happened in the past, and when the scientific evidence turns up for a cold ship in the past, scientific turns up for evidence of climatic changes in the past, the times he said they were, and them being in the earth the times he said they were, and the fact that man had been in the earth instead of a few 100,000 years, millions of years.
Mr. Casey, we're going through all these things now. We're at a break point. Elvis scare in Las Vegas earlier today. Is it over? Don't know. Hope so. Once again, here is Edgar E. Casey, the son of Edgar Casey, known as the Sleeping Prophet. Mr. Casey, welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
Sir, I'm curious, how old were you when your father passed on?
He passed away in 1947 in World War II. I was like 27.
27. So by that time, you were fully aware of your father's abilities, differences, talents.
Yes, I used to listen to reading when I was growing up with other people, and I knew what he did. I just feel like
Edgar, when did he begin to get visions of earth changes? At what point in all these readings did that begin to happen?
actually, I think it came over a period of time. I think he didn't really make a lot of prophecies, but he made statements all the way from the early 20s on up to the time he died. So some of these statements are years apart. Some of them are fairly recent.
Well, when he referred, for example, to pole shifts, was he referring to the fact that the poles had previously shifted, or did he know they would shift again, or both?
I think both. I think mostly it was a very bad thing. That sounds like a wild idea.
Not so wild today.
Not now.
I'm going to ask you to stay good and close to your phone because our connection could be a lot better.
I'm sorry. I talked a little loud.
Oh, that's excellent. Absolutely excellent. What else, other than pole shifts, did your father see coming for our world? Did he really look ahead at any point and give us any indication of what's coming?
But he always said, Art, that the future is not fixed. People can change. He did mention one thing that we have some scientific corroboration of when speaking about future earthquakes. He mentioned some particular areas in the United States. You know, the largest earthquake in the United States is not in California, but in
Missouri.
Missouri, right. Well, he mentioned these particular areas, and some 30 years, 25, 30 years after that reading was given, there was an organization, the American Association of Engineering Societies, that made a study of the fault zones in the eastern United States. And they published maps of these areas, and in fact, we have them in our book, Mysteries Atlantis Revisited. There's a chapter there dealing with the earthquake, and we got permission to publish these maps of the fault zones. The interesting thing about it, they were exactly the same areas that Stephen mentioned years ago. And the unsettling thing about it is that this population concluded that the likelihood of a major earthquake in the eastern United States in the next 25 years, this was published in 1987, was 100%. So that's pretty near certainty.
That's pretty near certainty.
They don't know where or which area is going to be affected, but these areas are exactly the same ones. So I hope they don't fall.
Did he ever describe to you when in trance, when in self-hypnosis, or rather how he would visualize things? Would he actually see them? Would these things come to him as a simple knowledge or a voice? Or in what manner was information imparted? Did he ever talk about that?
My brother and I wrote a book about that, Art. The Outer Limits of Power. In fact, it dealt with the readings that were wrong. Everybody talked about how good he was and he was out. But we thought that we could find there were some readings that seemed to be inaccurate. And we found maybe 150 to 200 out of the 14,000. That gives us still a pretty good study.
It sure does.
Something like that. But anyway, we thought that you could learn as much about psychic ability in general and education in particular by studying these ones that were wrong. Where did he get his information? My brother,
And in what manner?
I think there are probably at least four sources of psychic information. I think what applies to every case, it probably applies to any psychic. Even this especially good. But one would be unconscious memory. That is, everything you've ever thought or read or heard, somewhere in your mind, though you don't maybe remember consciously all the time. He could tap that source. Another one would be telepathy. That is the communication of his mind with the mind of another individual, either living or dead.
And either in close proximity or on the other side of the world.
That's right. Of course, you would only know in that case what that other person knew. If you were trying to diagnose someone, I suppose unconsciously, that person, all the reactions in the body of the person he's diagnosing is subconsciously, that person knows what's wrong with him. Maybe he's unconscious. All the reactions are there, and he can communicate with his mind, with the mind,
Mr. Casey, there are many who might suggest what your father did is the ancient equivalent of what's now known as remote viewing.
Well, that's another source to do that. Clairvoyance, that is, seeing things in distance. Not in every reading, but in some readings, he would say, well, there's a beautiful rooster fed and a beautiful rooster in the yard. Or he's looking at a rose bush, or he's arguing with his wife.
That's very specific.
In every case, we never found it to be wrong in a case like that. We always would try to call up the person or write the person to see, do you have a red rooster, or what are you arguing with your wife, or what were you doing at the time? And we never knew him to be wrong in a case like that.
Then might I suggest to you then that you mentioned when he was wrong, the few times presented to us that he was wrong. He said himself that not all that he saw would necessarily come true. In other words, we are not bound in some horrible little dance of what the future is going to be inevitably.
Right, let me give you an example of that. That brings us to the fourth source. There's two ways of looking at this source. Some people think there's such a thing as the Akashic record, that is, everything that happens well leaves a record of time and space. And you can tap this source of information.
Yes.
Another way of looking at it is to think of it that we live in a third-dimensional world. For example, if you take a point, move it in the direction not contained in itself, you get a line. That's one direction, one dimension. It's long, and it has no width. Move the line at right angles to itself, you get a plane, two-dimensional. No, it has no thickness, but it's infinitely long and wide. You move the plane at right angles to itself, you get a cube, three-dimensional world. That's the kind we live in.
Right.
Suppose you could move that at right angles to itself, the direction not contained in itself. We can't conceive of that.
You would then be moving in another realm or dimension.
Well, suppose we moved it in time. Suppose it existed yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And we're only conscious of the present. If that is somehow moving to this other dimension, let me give you an example. Suppose we have a plane, a two-dimensional plane, that has no thickness, but it's infinitely long and wide. And we have a two-dimensional bug crawling in this plane, a little sine wave pattern. And he has a free will, he has a memory. He remembers where he was, he knows where he is, he knows nothing about the future. You're sitting up here looking down on this plane. You see where he's been, you see where he is, you see everything that could possibly happen to him in the future. And you see it all at once. Now, he could never understand how you could see his past, his present, and future all at once, because he has no concept of this third dimension. But if he has a free will, you can look at him and say, well, now, if you continue in the way you're going at 3 o'clock tomorrow, you'll be right over there. If you like, but since he has the free will, he can decide to go off in another direction, change his sideways pattern, and go somewhere else. You can see everything that could happen to it, and what could be most probable. You couldn't be sure what he was going to do.
Well, I sure hope your father was right.
Well, I hope so too. Well, that way, if the past, the present, and future all exist, but the future just has probabilities, and he could see what was likely to happen, but he couldn't be sure because it is there. Depends on what people do. And of course, it's a little more complicated with millions of people, and one of them was, but you get the idea.
I do. Also, it was said that your father, when he would go into trance, when he come out of trance, had a particularly difficult viewing, and that this became worse as the years went on, it would drain him physically, make him weak.
What happened, normally he would give 1 or 2 readings a day. That is, it took a certain amount out of it. It wasn't exactly like physical exercise, but I suppose it was a mental training. And when he became popular, when the book There's a River came out, and he became popular overnight, people began to call him in the middle of the night, kind of like this conversation, but they'd say, my wife is dying, my daughter's dying, doctor can't help me, can't you do something for him? Please give him a reading. And he got hundreds of those requests. He had to have across the mail there in trucks. And he couldn't not help people. He felt like it's something he had to do. Instead of giving 1 or 2 readings a day, he started giving 4, 5, 6, 8, 10. And then it was such a restraint. In fact, he had a breakdown, and he had a reading on himself. And he just said, if you were trying to do too much, if you continue to do this, you continue to do it.
He was, I'm sorry, how old was he at his death?
67.
67. That's actually fairly long-lived for those times. Right, not a bad age. What is your current age?
I had my 80th birthday last week.
You're 80 years old.
How about that?
Oh, congratulations. Oh, that's really something. Your father obviously passed on to you some good things and some strong genes. Did he pass on to you anything else?
Well, of course, I had life readings. I don't talk about my personal readings, but I think they were very accurate for young me.
Did he pass on to you any inherited ability?
I don't have any psychic ability. The only thing I can remember, I had a dream once I was eating a giant marshmallow. I was kidding, but I really don't have any psychic ability.
What has it been like? You're now 80. What has it been like, sir? Living with what your father was all these years. It surely has changed your life and shaped and affected your life completely.
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, he suggested, for example, where I should go to school. He even said, you could get a scholarship. It's really good for the engineering. Now, I graduated from a little high school that had 28 people in graduate speech. And the chance of getting a scholarship from a small school was so long enough. But I wasn't valedictorian of the class, but I was still at the small school. And I put him on a scholarship, and I had it. He was right about that.
And then you
I've enjoyed engineering. I think it's not, you don't get rich, but I think you have a satisfying life. That is, in my case, if you're happy in what you're doing, happy in what kind of work you do, I think that's important.
Well, you were an engineer, so you were in the hard sciences.
That's right. That's a long way to
Sure is. Was that difficult for you at times? I am into electronics, and yet I deal with this kind of material on the radio.
Well, I had a kind of a dual ratio there. I mean, I was living in a family with a man who was probably one of the most remarkable scientists country, and I watched it every day. I can tell you an example of a really some kind of thing that happened was kind of curious. I used to miss that when I grew up. We had a meeting one time on a man who was supposed to be in his apartment in New York, and they mother gave him a suggestion if you were ever going to do by yourself, so they met this address. All he had to know was the person's name and where he would be at the time of the week. He said that for a minute. He said, he's not here. He said, he's coming across town on the bus. He said, a lot of guys in the bus. We were waiting. He said, after 15 minutes, he didn't word. All of a sudden, he said, come here. He proceeded to agree. At that time, my brother got up, went down the road, and called the man on the telephone. He said, that's exactly right. He said, I knew I was supposed to be in my apartment. I'm on my way there. There was a traffic accident. Something the bus was late. I just didn't walk in. That's a beautiful piece of Illinois.
Did it ever scare you?
I don't know if it ever scared me. It made you think a lot of times.
Really hard. I wonder how a young man who's becoming an engineer was able to square all of this. And were there times early in the early years in your education when you would reject or just simply couldn't believe, or did you always simply understand what your father did was a normal thing
Well, I
for
don't
you?
know if I consider it normal. I realized it was pretty abnormal, but I had seen it work in so many cases. You know, I grew up with it, and he had really successful people that had remarkable cures, they suggested vocations. Pick up his occupation, good at it, stuff like that. It happened to me. It happened so many times that you had faith in it. You thought that he was right. Exactly. And I don't know how. That was one of the reasons we wrote this book. It's Mysteries of American Religion, that it shows the archaeological and geological discoveries that have happened in the recent past. So how accurate it was.
You are a very devout Christian, obviously. Was your father?
Yes, he was. He taught those who were my brother and I both did too, as a matter of fact. He is Virginia.
Were there conflicts between his religion and the fact that he was a prophet, and we all know what it says, prophets in the Bible, that they've got to be completely accurate or they're false prophets, and there must have been those accusations.
Well, a lot of people didn't know what that did. You know, when we first moved to the beach, it was a very small little fishing village. And most people thought he was a doctor. They used to call him occupation. They really didn't know what he did. And he was a very normal person in everyday life. And most of the people, someone who had a reason, they knew him in everyday life. They knew what a good doctor he was, and a good gardener he was, and he was a nice person he was.
Mr. Casey, we're at the bottom of the hour. We'll do just 30 more minutes, and I'd like to open the lines and let some of my audience ask you questions, if that'd be all right. Very good.
Here's a number that...
All right. Once again, Edgar E. Casey. Mr. Casey, of your father, how much is currently today myth versus what really happened?
I guess that a lot of books have been written about him. Probably the best one is A River by Thomas DeGruy, who was brother's roommate in college. That's an account of how he started his work. And Tom, I helped carry Tom upstairs when he had gone from 180 pounds down to about 90. And the doctor showed him he wasn't going to die when he was making 2 points. He was paralyzed from his neck down. He couldn't move a finger. And followed the treatment with William Cassidy, and he wrote the book when he got well. He never got to the doctor that practically he did get up to the point he could go back to his job as an American magazine and Herald Tribune.
So would you say the majority of what we know, or what we can certainly read in that book, is accurate, not myth?
Well, I guess it depends on who you read, what you read. The fact that he was a prophet, I think is a little was graduated. I know he did say some things about the future that about the past that certainly proven accurate.
Well, one of the things he said was that there would be a hall of records found beneath the left paw of the Sphinx. Now, I interviewed the director of Antiquities, Adi Was, not long ago, and he answered in his normal, a very boisterous Egyptian accented voice. There has never been one grain of sand found here to show that there's anything that could link to Atlantis, and that's what he said. But on the other hand, Mr. Casey, there are radar records, ground penetrating radar now, showing that there are chambers beneath the Sphinx.
They are correctly showing that they're certainly anomalous. Whether they're chambers or not hasn't been proven. You know, getting permission to dig beneath the Sphinx is kind of like going to Washington. Said, I'd like to dig a hole under the Jefferson Memorial or the Memorial or the Washington Monument.
Very much like that, yes.
National treasure. You can't just go there and do where you want to. Maybe they just haven't done deep enough. The Austin Energy thing, I don't know whether Johnny Watts mentioned this or not. In fact, it upset a lot of the archaeologists. Professor Shock, the Yale trained geologist, his specialty was rock weathering. He went over to Egypt and looked at the base of the Sphinx, and he said that the weathering was definitely water weathering. That's not getting the sand weathering.
That's correct.
And he presented his findings with a geologic convention.
As a matter of fact, there have been sea incrustations removed from the rear side of the Sphinx.
Well, I know that the weathering there was, he says that it's water, it was, that means the Sphinx is much older than they thought. In fact, the work that the ARE did and sponsored in carbonating the pyramid, you can't carbonate stone, but you can carbonate fiber or bugs or any kind of plant that's got in the water. And the interesting thing about it was they wouldn't let us take any samples from inside the Great Pyramid. They did let us take stuff from the outside. Well, it turned out that the pyramid was several hundred years older than thought, which means that the Pharaoh they thought built it didn't, or else he lived a lot earlier than they thought. So that really upset the surprise. In fact, the blocks at the top turned out to be 300 or 400 years older than the ones at the bottom. It wasn't built from the top down, so that would indicate that the probably were repairs made to it. If that was true, then it must be much older than they think it is.
Boy, would I like to have you in the same room as Adi Was. All right, let's go to the phones and say, first time caller line, you're on the air with Edgar Casey. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
My name is Martha
Where are you, Martha?
in Kentucky. I'm really glad to talk to you, Mr. Bell, because I listen to your show all the time,
Thank you.
and it's really great.
Thank you.
In fact, I sent you a few,
Messages.
yeah.
All right. Do you have a question for Mr.
Yes,
Casey?
I would like to talk to Mr. Casey. I got to know the ARE when my sister had psoriasis really bad, and nobody could fix it. And of course, every doctor has, different reasons why you would have psoriasis.
Sure.
And I'm a registered nurse, so I went to the ARE to do that for her. And in fact, she was healed. And Edgar Casey had things that he said you should do for psoriasis, and it got better.
So then a lot of, Mr. Casey, a lot of the things that your father said as he took readings, then later applied to other people in some way, in some
Yes, other people, that's psoriasis. Father, that's psoriasis is a good example. In fact, there's the doctor up in Pennsylvania that has treated a number of people by putting together a lot of readings and education he gave on people with psoriasis and making up a sort of regimen of treatment. He's had great success, curing people who have psoriasis.
There was you told us there was a phone number that you had that people could call.
There is an 800 number if anybody's interested in knowing more about the reading, the Association for Research and Enlightenment in Virginia Beach, that's how we recommend it. The number is 1-800-333-4499. And they can either call that number, or they can write the Association of Education Foundation. It's 67th Atlantic Avenue, Beach, 23451.
Will the Casey Foundation continue?
I'd like to think so. It is an organization that probably has 25,000, 30,000 members in the United States and many members overseas in other countries. And the purpose is to preserve the records that education gave and make them available to study. And one thing that you pointed out, as Mark pointed out, one thing that can be done is people come there and look at it and see if there are any suggested treatments similar to what they have that might be useful in decades. Of course, most of these reading books are individual, might apply to one person, might apply to another.
Did your father tackle the diseases that were in fatal final stages, cancers, heart problems, that sort of thing?
Sometimes he would say, because there's nothing that can be done for this person.
Oh, he would. He would. He would say, he would virtually tell people they were going to die.
Yes, and that's way to make the focus. He said, there's nothing too late.
Did your father ever tell you, Mr. Casey, where he thought his power came from?
I don't think he knew. He had life reading on himself that said it was developed in a former life, his former lives. I think the sources that we talked about a few minutes ago, I think they apply, and I think you probably used some of them. The rest of that chapter had, on the nature of psychic perception in the book, had some reasons for why sometimes they work better than others. The fact that the attitude and the purposes and the reasons for the reading seem to affect it. I know for a fact that education will feel if you had a bad cold, if you had a stomachache, if you had the flu, if you were emotionally upset about something, but he didn't get as good a reading as he would when he was perfectly healthy. So certainly his physical health will affect the accuracy of some of the reading. I think there's such a thing, I guess you could call it psychic static, that sometimes you don't always get perfect radio or perfect television reception. You know, a thunderstorm or leaking on a car, right? Mission line or something with all of the reception. I think there's maybe a psychic static like that. In other words, the purposes of the reading, Dad wanted to help people. If you have a woman with a child who wanted to get well, the woman wants the child to get well, the child wants to get well, maybe David wants to help the child get well. Usually there's a sort of empathy between them that conduces to a very good read.
All right.
Sometimes if somebody comes up and says, I'm looking for an Orwell or a gold mine, and I'll give you this, we find it. What's that purpose? It's a selfish purpose. They're not trying to help you.
You know, I was just about to ask you about that, whether he had been approached in that manner, whether he in fact even used what he had to, at times, enrich himself.
I don't think he tried to enrich himself. He didn't, in fact, when he get into the story, again, it happened before my time, but he would be asked questions in some of the physical readings. Somebody at the end of the reading would say, well, who's going to win this horse race? What's going to happen to the stock market? And we would ask him, what's the question of profit? But when he woke up, he wouldn't feel well. He would have headaches, he would feel low, he would realize something was wrong, and he couldn't figure out what it was. And when he found out what was happening, he got very mad. He packed up and moved his family from Hopkinsville to Selma, Alabama, where I was born, and called the photography studio for giving readings.
So over that exact issue.
Exact issue. And when my brother was burned, we can flashback dial. He began giving readings again, and gave a reading on him, and it was remarkable. The doctor said he was going to lose his sight, and wanted to take up one eye to save the other. They didn't have to. One of the first uses of panic acid was burned. And he then got well, and Dad started giving readings again. From then on, my mother mother was the one who conducted the reading, but gave him the suggestion. So I'm him or he with particularly questions about gold mines or oil wells or whatever. He
Mr. Casey, is there anybody in today's world, in the modern world, that you would consider to be the equivalent of your father?
Yeah, and all over the world studying psychics and he never found one that was actively taking one over his longer period. There are many people in this country all over the world that have varying degrees of psychic ability, but I don't know anyone who has a track record of education. He gave 1,000 readings over a period of 30 years, and we have to recommend that. I mean, people can come down there, and the library is open, it's free. You can come and look at the report, see what he says, and we're not trying to hide anything. In fact, we try to make it better.
But Mr. Casey, still today then, your father's power, where it came from, why he had it, we know how he used it, but all the rest, we don't know any more today than we did the day he did the first reading. All right, Wild Red Line, you're on the air with Edgar Casey. Good morning.
Good morning, Art. And Mr. Casey, it's truly a great honor with the deep amount of respect for your father and read pretty much everything I can find on the man. I would suggest that everybody visit your organization's website.
Where are you, by the way, sir?
East Coast. Near
Washington, D.C. By the way, Mr. Casey, there is a website, is that correct?
I believe it is. I don't have the
Okay, well, I think my caller does. Caller?
It's www.arey-casey.com. When it gets dash the hyphen, so ARE-casey.com.
Got it. Do you have a question?
It's really terrific. I spent a great deal of time in researching.
All right, we'll have a look up in minutes.
Quick questions, real quick.
Yes.
We just throw them out real quick. A, is it possible that Atlantis itself is buried beneath the sand at Giza, hence the pyramids, the Sphinx, and so on, are actually the remnants above what may be the thing beneath? Secondly,
I don't think so. He didn't say that. He said that Atlantis was located in the South Atlantic. There were records from Atlantis buried in Egypt. In fact, he said there were some buried in 3 places in the world. Up in South America, Yucatan, Egypt, and some under the ocean.
well, with regards to his previous life, which some people have interpreted as having been that Casey himself in the previous life placed the records in the Hall of Records. Was there anything further on that? And interestingly, also, his suggestion that the Earth changes would culminate in 1998 has always struck me as suggesting perhaps that they would in effect kick in and culminate with a major release of that energy in 1998, which of course is today.
Yeah, he did mention 1998 as an important year, but again, he said the future's not fixed, so we can change it. I don't really know what's going to happen.
Anything on alien civilizations, there's been some suggestion I find on Mars, which has some relationship to Giza, that other previous civilizations, perhaps the Sumerians, were descended from the Anunnaki, a race from another planet. Was there ever anything as far as reincarnation from another species, or any information about that at all?
As far as I know, there are no references in the reading to aliens coming to Earth in other civilizations. Dad did say there was life in the universe. Spirit form. Lots of stars out there, lots of galaxies. There's bound to be life of other kinds somewhere else. He didn't mention any of them coming to Earth, as far as I know.
So thank you very much, sir. Once again, it's a great honor.
All right, thank you very much. And east of the Rockies, you're on the air with Edgar E.K.C. Good morning. Where are you, please?
Good morning. Yeah, east of the Rockies. My name is Elliot.
All right.
Good morning, Mr. Casey. Good morning, Mr. Bell. I believe I told you we talked about using my phone. So we'll talk about that.
I don't disconnect people for geologic locations anyway.
I'm not saying that you did.
I see.
That something else did.
MIBs. All right. Do you have a question?
Yes, I do. I've heard from friends of mine who have high-level positions in the government But there will be a full show taking place.
Oh,
It'll be happening on a different, a rough estimate of 2005.
all right. There are many who believe that, Mr. Casey. Did your father project or tell anybody when he thought the next pole shift might occur?
I don't remember any specific examples of that. He did say there might be changes in 1998 on up through 2000. Exactly what time. I think they may be. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, it's we can change that.
Mr. Casey, as you look around today's world and listen to today's news with anthrax and wars and social disruption and so much that has changed in our society, would you think your father to be pretty much on track with regard to predicted changes for beginning in 1998? I mean, is that the way the world looks to you?
Well, the media plays off a lot of the exciting things and the bad things. There's a lot of good folks out there. There's a lot of good things that interact with people from the world. But we have, I think, done a lot of things that we could do better. And hopefully people will see that other things in the future, not get us into the
You're a hopeful man. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Edgar Casey and not a lot of time. Hello.
Yes. Steve, San Diego.
Yes, sir.
I want to talk to you, Mr. Casey. To preface, your father's legacy followed me around for about 5 years as a teenager before I finally got around to reading the biography. But want to know, in the biography there are two paranormal experiences that mentioned for your father as a child. One was that he could put books for his schoolwork under his pillow and read them at night while he was asleep. And the other was that he had the Sprite or Pixie packs of play friends.
All right, Mr. Casey.
Well, this was before my time, and these are stories I've heard. That he could see people when he was a child that other people couldn't see. He had playmates that other people couldn't see. But he did have that experience of being able to memorize, by speaking on a book, just memorizing the content. And he did turn from a poor student into a very good student without ability.
Mr. Casey.
Again, this was before I was born, so I can't
Understand.
testify. I understand a lot of stories that go like that, and I've heard that tell.
Mr. Casey, do you have children?
Yes.
Do they have any abilities?
As far as I know, they do not. They have some good abilities, but they're not psychic.
I got him.
Most of them, my son graduated with the electrical engineer, my son graduated from Ohio State and is in psychology, and majored in BS psychology.
Boy, what a pleasure it has been to have you on the program. I know it's getting mighty late back there.
I guess it's getting mighty early. It's about 5 minutes before, yeah.
All right, Mr. Casey, I'm going to say thank you, and I hope one day I'll have an opportunity to interview you again. You're a class act. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Art, and I hope you got my copy of that book.
I did. I surely did.
Well, I hope you get the chance to read it sometime and enjoy it, and I've enjoyed being on the program. Thank you for having me.
Good night, Mr. Casey. That's Edgar E. Casey from the high desert. This is Coast to Coast AM.
From the high desert and the great American Southwest, I bid you all good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be in the world's 25 time zones. This is Midnight in the Desert. My name is Art Bell. As always, the rules are the same. No bad language and one call per show. That's it. Those are the rules. The show, however, is going to be a little different tonight. We were going to have Charles Osmond on, and I think we're going to reschedule Charles for a later date because I think we're going to do open lines. Now, I know some things. I watched the coverage of the attack all day long on CNN, and I thought from the beginning that it was terrorist. And I think a lot of people on CNN thought so too, and then really played it down. I'm not sure how many of you saw the coverage, but let me read you what I have, okay, as we consider what we'll talk about tonight. There were at least 2 heavily armed attackers that opened fire on a banquet at a social services center for the disabled on Wednesday. Really? A social services center for the disabled? Is that a place to commit mass murder? Apparently so. 14 people are dead. Probably a dozen others seriously injured. We don't know how, we don't know how some may die. Some may recover, hopefully. It looked as though these guys were on a mission. Well, retraction. 1 guy, 1 girl, and maybe a 3rd. Hours later, they just went in with AR-type rifles. First they said, earlier in the day it was AK-47, right? Then later in the day it changed to weapon. Hours later, police hunting for the killers. Real black SUV. You may have seen that happen. Not live actually. The cameras came on it to see bullet holes in the body lying on the ground. With gunfire and a shootout 2 miles from the late morning carnage. A man and woman with assault rifles, handguns, and assault stock killed. They were in the vehicle. It may well be their 3rd brand. They're still trying to figure that out. They don't even know if a 3rd person had anything to do with the crime. There may only be 2. Either way, CNN is not naming anybody. I'm not going to be that careful because the Associated Press is. And so I'm not afraid to quote them. The latest on mass shooting at a social services facility in California, Local 740, this ran on Associated Press. A law enforcement official has identified Syed Farouk as one of the suspects in a mass shooting in Southern California. The official who was briefed on the case was not authorized to speak to media about the ongoing investigation, but spoke to the AP, I guess, on condition, of course, of anonymity. Police say 2 suspects, a man and a woman, were killed in a gun battle. Well, I already said this. Now, I've got some additional information that my producer quickly dug up. And this is, so that I'm crediting properly here, New York Daily News exclusive, they say. Apparently, this Syed Farouk has a dad. Said Syed is 30. He
now knows, of course, he was linked to the slaughter that left 14 dead at the Inlet Regional Sarin Center in Tino. His father was shocked to learn of his son's possible involvement in the attack. Said, I haven't heard anything. The other group told the news he was very religious, would work, perform, pray, back. He's Muslim. The shell-shocked dad said he started work as a health technician, inspecting restaurants and hotels, graduated from Osceola High School in 2003. After police announced the two suspects, male and female, were dead following the parties of the shootout, in a shootout with the police, the FBI began the search of the nearby residence apartment linked to the younger Farouk's family. So this is a fluid, ongoing story. Very, very fluid, changing by the minute. But clearly this is a Muslim who was involved. And so I think now nobody likes to racially profile. But, it looks pretty clear to me now. CNN was doing a good job with coverage. I gotta give them credit today. And I sort of trash them a lot on there, but I watch them a lot. I think they're the most in the middle to watch. And so I did watch their coverage, and it was incredible. As far as I know, they probably still have not named one of the dead suspects. But knowing that name and knowing them his history, or a little bit of history that we could sort of scratch up on, I think, you hate to jump to conclusions, but this would appear to be a Paris type attack, except in California, right? This time it's in California, so let's see. This would be the most dead since they killed the kids, right? And it would be the worst terrorist attack since 9/11, right? So at this hour, there's no way of knowing, if what is suggested here by the man's name and the style of the attack, the military guard, the high-powered ARs, the pipe bombs. They went through it pretty carefully on CNN on one person after another, except for one young lady who said she didn't care if she said it's terrorism. International terrorism. And that looks that way. We can't know until you know absolutely, but boy, it sure looks that way to me. So I guess I want to talk to you a little bit about this and see what you think. Now it's come to America. What is terrorism? Well, in this case, it was shooting a bunch of people who were just needing to do a little bit of good, right? I would say. It was a center of evil, right? So it's not exactly, it's just simply a soft target. That's how they come for us, soft targets. And boy, baby, we're soft. I credit the police, the FBI, everybody who's down there doing their job. They are doing a great job. And two of the suspects, if it's only two, are dead. That's good. But this is terrorism now. This means you could walk into the supermarket. You could go to a crowded get-together, football game, whatever. And if this has now come here, and it probably has, I'm not saying definitely, but it's sure looking that way to me. I think there are a lot of things we can talk about tonight. like what you think we ought to do, for example. So far, our role in what's going on in Syria, in the middle of the caliphate, so-called, so-claimed caliphate, it's not much. I mean, we're bombing. Now, by the way, the British just announced that as of at least tomorrow, a vote, I think it was, in Parliament of their 397 to 223, they will begin bombing in Syria as well. So now we'll have British jets over Syria, along with French jets, the Russian jets, and the American jets. So that whole thing is going to get even more dangerous. But now we've got another problem. Now, if this is what it looks like it might be, I think it's, time that we decide what we're going to do. This is now, it's about the homeland, right? It's about our homeland. So I don't think that what we're doing, we have a few special forces troops on the ground in these spot targets and stuff like that, and maybe now a few more will be more in fighting mode. But our president is very, 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 very hesitant to send people on the ground in Syria. I do get it, dangerous as hell, right? However, this is the homeland. I've sort of lived in a little personal terror. People doing stuff, firing rifle rounds off. Getting phone calls, just someone out there outside, immediately outside my window. That's terror. So I know how it feels. And if this kind of thing continues, everybody's going to be a different situation. This is, since 9/11. Which was a horrible, surreal event. But I don't know, somehow this is more personal. That's what this is. It's way more personal. I mean, it doesn't matter. Think about it. What do you do? Go to football games? You get in crowds every now and then? Do you go to the grocery store? This is in San Bernardino, exactly, right? So, again, I'm not saying absolutely what it is or isn't. I read you the name of the suspect. And every guy they had on CNN who was from the FBI, usually they're retired FBI guys, right? Because they're the ones currently working for the FBI. Really common. They're not allowed to, but the retired guys said, oh, boy, does this look like terrorism. When you have these non-FBI assets, this sort of number, this is probably terrorism. And now that we know the suspect's name, Sayed Farouk, we know from his father that he was very religious. Haven't seen him much lately. I guess he's a recent divorced guy. But that's just a description of who probably did this, the suspect who killed these people. The reason he killed them is because of the propaganda coming out of, I should say possibly, coming out of Syria. The propaganda to just begin to go out and kill. Go to places and, take a high-powered rifle and kill them. So I thought earlier tonight, after all of this and after learning what I had learned, that it would be kind of, I really wanted to talk to Charles Oscar, but it just seemed not the right thing to do. And every now and then I do this when something comes along like this, and I'm telling you, if it's what it is, this is really, really, really big. Because all of you out there are going to have to embrace the possibility that the war has come to our shore now. in this manifestation. Just walking in and killing at random, getting as many dead as you can. I don't know what they were doing. Remaining in the car, remaining close by, that's a mystery. What they may have done is to hit another place, before they encountered police. Well, it didn't work out, thankfully, that way for them. But that's a working theory. Nobody knows about this for sure. But I've told you to this hour what I can tell you. And now I will ask you what you think we should do. Are you satisfied with the few airstrikes we've been conducting? How many of these will have to happen before you decide that there's going to have to be massive action? We've been predicting this now for, boy, a long time on the networks. All the talking heads have been predicting it. We're really surprised it has not yet come to the U.S. Well, now it has. Let me give out the numbers, and I would like to have you comment about, I don't know, what you think of this, your opinion so far. I'm sure many, if not most, watched the coverage, didn't you? And then I want to know what you'd like to do. What do you think we ought to do? Here it is on our soil again, but this time, again, I say it's different. Horrible as the 9/11 disaster was, this is a different kind of terrorism. This random killing, well, I guess in some sense that too was random, right? But expected that. Grocery stores, places where people meet, happen in Paris, sure happened here. So anyway, here come the numbers. I'm going to give you all the numbers. Anybody is welcome to call in any way they can get in. The national number is area code 952-225-5278. Once again, that's area code 952-225-5278. Are you laying that down? The first time caller line is area code 775-285-5800. 775-285-5800. You may also use the Roswell entrance point. That would be area code 575-208-7787. I've got to have Ross do more work. Again, the special event line that I'll open for all of you, 575-208-7787. Skype, of course. Here's the way it works. If you've got a smart device of some sort, Android, whatever, download Skype. When you get Skype is free. Go to your store and get it. It's free. And then when you do, you'll learn how to add people. Skype, become familiar with what they did. And what's cool is this. After you download Skype, you can add us. If you're in North America, we are MITD51. It doesn't matter, uppercase, lowercase, MITD51. Outside the U.S., it would be very, very interesting to hear from outside the United States tonight. I guess they might want to comment on this kind of terrorism now, apparently, or seemingly arriving here in the U.S., right here in my backyard, I think, say. I mean, for me, it's just over the hill. Sanford is just over the hill, so it's close. Anyway, if you're elsewhere in the world and would like to comment on what has happened thus far, we are at MITD 55. That's midnight in the desert 55. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to comment on the world situation, both what's going on in San Bernardino, unfortunately, and what's going on in Syria. We'll talk about all of it.
screen calls. We trust you, but remember the NSA. Well, you know, to call the show, please dial 1-952-225-5278. That's 1-952-CALL ART. All right, and since this is a special night, one more time, I'm going to remind you, we have every line's full here, so still, we don't ever give these numbers. So our first time caller line, even though I just gave it, I want to give it again. The way to get through area code 775-285-5800, or the Roswell entry point. Area code 575-208-7787, and of course by Skype. And again, I would like to hear what people outside the country have to say. It looks as though, in my opinion, it looks as though we have just experienced our first terror attack of this time. You know, go in and kill as many people as you can type deal, and then get ready to give up your own life. A few things about this incident that are great. Anyway, I'm sure you'll bring all this up. Stephen, you're on first on Skype, I think. I'm doing all right.
Hey, I just wanted to mention, a couple of the analysts on CNN said that this Saeed Farouk was at the banquet, and something happened at the banquet. He was disgruntled and left and came back.
I know.
And so a bunch of them, or several of the analysts thought that it may have been a combination of both. If something upset him, he was disgruntled, and then he was so close to jihad anyway, that it just pushed him over the edge.
I'm not saying that isn't so. We have yet to know. All we know is, the guy's name, a little bit about him. Apparently life was not great. He was divorced, according to his dad, very religious. And so, yeah, you're right. I mean, I watched, trust me, every minute of CNN today. I thought they did a very credible job of covering it all.
Yeah, me too. I had NBC going too. NBC was way out front on a couple of things. But yeah, I thought they were pretty good. And then want to make one other comment. That's the tendency to do this so macho. We should sing a bunch of troops. I think there's a reason why they attacked Russia, France, and the United States. And, they're trying to get their recruiting up. And the more it's the world against them, their recruiting goes no up.
Yeah.
And so I just think we've heard presidential hopefuls who are out there talking about this stuff. It's really easy to slip into that macho, we should send down the thunder.
Yeah, I know. And you're right. On the other hand, what would you have us do?
Well, I think it's a similar deal. I think there has to be some way to compel the Arab nations in the region to get more actively involved. That Jordanians have 90,000, the Turks have a 1 million man army, Saudis have a 1 million man army, and it's us. And, they're Arabs. So, somehow they got to get in the game and they got to lead this. It's got to be,
Okay, all right. Let me interrupt you just a little bit. I agree with you. Those countries need to be more involved in stopping ISIS. Yeah, with you all the way. But this is here. And once it gets here, on an increasingly frequent basis, people are not going to be patient.
Well, I agree with you. I think that's complicated, but attacking over there, that isn't going to make the people here easier to protect for them. So I don't...
Yeah, I don't have an argument for that. It's true. What you're saying is true.
but can't sit on our butts either.
Well, I don't, you know, I get the feeling we work really hard. I have the funny feeling that they, security services are working, you know, triple overtime trying to detect them.
No doubt about it. The trouble is, detecting and then stopping this sort of thing is damn near impossible.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it'll be a challenge, but you know, I wonder if there, you know, there's some way that it could be more of a communicate the message that it's not religious, it's not in their faith to do it.
Well, thank you very much for the call. I think we should communicate that to them. I don't know if it'll make a difference.
Clock strikes 11, and Midnight in the Desert is pounding package your way on the Garden Radio Network. To club the show, please direct your people to Houston number 1-952-225-5278. That's 1-952-CALL-ART. It is, and my other lines, how to give them to you. We are in open lines right now. So if you're a first-time caller to the program, area code 775-285-5800. If you want to come to Roswell, it's area code 575-208-7787. Skype? And yes, indeed, MITD51 and or MITD55 if you're outside of North America. And I really do want to hear from the rest of the world and what they think of the fact that apparently or seemingly or possibly, highly possibly, the same kind of terrorism that the world has been enduring most recently in Paris, now it's here. So, we can talk about that. We can talk, if you wish, about Syria, because that's where all this is coming from, right? It's being encouraged from Syria. The radical Muslims out there are getting the message out, and it's being received. Obviously, it got received in Paris. And apparently, or may have been received here, so we have this as a beginning. And what's going on in Syria, I want to talk to you about that too, because, and again, the British are about to start bombing, because I'm telling you, World War III is over there. And oh, by the way, the very center of ISIS's ideology is to bring back the end of the world. That's what they want, the end of the world. They want it to end. They want to be the agents that brings the end of the world. That's really what they believe. Nobody would believe that. That's crazy, right? It's not. So let's quickly go to John. Hello, John.
Evening, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Can you get pretty close to your mic, please?
Yeah, okay.
You're better. Yeah. Are you like on a laptop?
No, on my computer.
Oh,
On Skype and listening to you on TuneIn.
I see. All right. Well, that's the usual way, or one way anyway. So, when you talk, are you talking into like a microphone of a, you know, like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's meant for this people camera that sits on top of the computer.
All right. Now,
Probably not the best.
okay, we're going to try and experiment. Can you just pick that up, you know, that camera, and talk into it? All right, now talk into it.
Is that any better?
Oh, baby. And see, I do that on the air so that everybody can hear how much better it is, and then they do it. So, go ahead.
All right. Well, I'll tell you, I live here in Vermont, and I find myself getting a little callous to these killings, but, you know, you had Sandy Hook, you had all these crazy things going on with all these assault rifles, and I don't understand why that we can have people that are on no flag list recipient will walk into a gun show and buy an assault rifle.
You listen to the president, huh?
Well, yeah.
He's absolutely right about that, of course. If you're on a no-fly list, then hell no, you shouldn't be able to buy a gun.
Well, I was talking to some friends today, earlier when we just heard about this thing starting up in San Bernardino. We got to talking about guns, and you go to some of the political meetings here in this town. I'm sure you've attended.
Listen, people have no idea. This is still the Wild West out here.
Oh yes, it's crazy. It's kind of crazy, and I can understand the people. They're really far out right wing, being concerned about their guns, but
There's guns everywhere.
I don't think we need assault rifles.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if the guy trying to get you has an assault rifle, probably.
I hear the Republicans are talking about, if everybody had a gun, this wouldn't happen. I don't know. I just kind of wonder, what kind of society do they want to build?
Well, there aren't many people who carry guns in San Bernardino. I'll tell you that. Here in Nevada, there's a joke going around. Somebody will walk into Walmart and some recent person who moved here from, California, for example, will go into Walmart and they'll see some guy wearing a gun and they call the sheriff. Oh my God, what do we do with the guy wearing a gun? Well, is he shooting people? No.
Well, I know I moved here from Iowa, and it kind of upset me the first time I started looking around, seeing guns in restaurants and stores.
I don't think they're a problem. If people want to use them to murder, that's a big, big problem. You suddenly disappeared, Hannah. I'm sorry, your audio is so bad. I don't know what happened. I'm going to guess you might pull the wires so smart if you do that. Truly, I am. Okay, so let's go to the phone and say, Missoula, Montana, you're on the air.
Yes, hello, sir.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Thank you. It's not interesting that I should follow the gentleman who you just spoke to. I think being a lot of recent events, I would strongly advocate for firearms training for American citizens who are able and basically able to defend themselves.
They need it.
I would concur.
There's going to be two gigantic groups of people calling tonight if it's going to get to be about guns, and that's going to be the people who believe absolutely in right, and people who think all guns should be taken away. And I'm not sure I want to exactly have that fight tonight. I'm pro gun, I own guns. I wouldn't be without guns.
No, sir. I don't want to get into that fight as well. In fact, I don't want to go there at all. It's just, it seems to me that with the recent events that occurred in the world, these incidents have occurred in areas where we are gun-free zones. And I'm sorry to say that, and I know that might offend a lot of people. The facts are as they are. I work with two Marines who actually strongly advocate that young men, unfortunately, if you are doing the service at this very moment, due to the fact that their services may be needed here in the United States to defend the homeland rather than go overseas. And I think that's a terrible way of looking at the world, but unfortunately, I am personally sick and tired of these cowardly acts and what is going on in the world. And I, for one, would strongly advocate that citizens who want to be in a world where they don't have to worry about walking in the street, but take care of themselves in a responsible fashion.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for the call. I am for that. All right. In other words, I think if you look, it's your right to have a gun, carry a gun. If you pass, for example, I had a carry permit. My wife has a carry permit. I went to school. I've been to school many times. And you find out, when it's legal to shoot, when it's not legal to shoot. You find out how to safely use the weapon. You find out how to efficiently use the weapon. You have to fire. So you have to go through some preparation to get a carry permit. And I don't want to get into that argument tonight about guns one way or the other. I simply believe that we should be allowed to have weapons if we can demonstrate that we are responsible. We got called up and repeat what the president said is right. If you are on a no-fly list, well, probably you shouldn't be, able to buy a gun. That's reasonable. But it's the small picture. The big picture is, what are we going to do about this? It's here now. I think, in spades. Maybe I'm wrong, and I hope that I'm to be wrong. But I'd be just willing to bet you this is international terrorism on our borders. Hello there, Paul, you're on air.
Oh, Paul.
Hello, sir, how are you? I'm fine.
Okay. I believe you spent time in the Philippines and would be familiar with a martial art called Kempo.
I am familiar with it, yes.
All right. I've had a lifetime familiarity with it, and it is a universal martial art where we do a lot of strategic thinking. And
Okay, give me some strategic thinking about this situation, whether it's what just happened or Syria, the caliphate.
I think in both cases, we need to respond surely with extreme prejudice. We need to go in and we need to attack them with the same ferocity that they have demonstrated here. And I believe here,
What they're demonstrating here is random killing. Now, surely you are not suggesting that we go and randomly kill Syrians.
No, I would only say, and I don't want to get into this same thing either, because as you know, I'm in that speaks for itself.
Pretty much.
I do want to say that Admiral Yamamoto discouraged the Japanese in World War II from invading the West Coast by simply stating, as he was educated here, it is a fight we can never win. They will fight from every hill, from every tree, from every street, from every window, because he well knew that we were an armed society. And also, because of your time in Asia, and it's redundant to even say this comparison, but I'm saying it to everyone out there. The most polite society known in history was the samurai-driven society, because sword fighting don't involve prolonged television type exchanges, nor do knife fights. Generally, 3 moves, someone's down. 4 moves at the most. It's also has to do kind of
So you'll apply this to this situation now.
I believe the more sane citizens that are the biggest deterrent we can have. We simply know.
Okay, all right. That's the argument all over again, and I'll take it and not say you're wrong. I'll not say you're wrong. Look what's going on in Chicago. Chicago is you really can't get a gun permit kind of place, right? It's like San Bernardino. You know San Bernardino. You want a permit to carry in San Bernardino, you better be, I don't know, a celebrity or have a lot of money or really have a serious reason to not carry a gun. What's going on in Chicago again? Number of crazy. So I understand the argument, folks. Ben Dory, you're on there.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi, Doc. I figured it's all that.
Yeah, it is.
It's a terrible day. I'm just trying to those people who lost their lives. Yeah. But I'm glad I live in the desert because I live actually in a smaller town down up the road, Redmond. And something like that can't happen here. Because,
I'm sorry, I should lie. Of course it can happen there.
yeah, but not for long.
And again, you're going to make the same argument, right? Because everybody up there is total no weapon.
But I'm going to take it a step further and say we really need to sort of export this out to the country.
I'm not looking. Okay, sir, just pause for one moment, please, everybody. Hold on, sir. Hold on. Accept the fact that I agree with you that people who can demonstrate sanity and accuracy should be allowed to carry guns. I don't need that argument. And I agree with you. If, it may well be that people down there have been armed. They would have been taken out more quickly. I don't know. So I accept that argument. So let's not argue the gun thing, okay?
Okay. Well, then I'll just say I think these soft targets need to be hardened, and we need to do it on a national level.
Well, there's a job for you.
Well, it's just going to have to happen because this is just going to continue to happen, and I think it needs to be nipped in the bud. Just get the army out there and be there for a while.
You want the army on the streets?
Well, I don't know, National Guard maybe,
Yeah.
or the police. Believe me, I was at Ground Zero on 9/11. I was pulled up that highway a little bit over by the Shepherd and headed down there when it all happened. I saw it all happen. And when that was happening, there were planes everywhere flying over the city, flying over New Jersey, and I was praying for an F-16 to come, And that's how people have to think. Like, you just have to think, this person with this AR-15 is necessary here. Because certainly, if anything ever happens, they're going to be glad they're there.
Well, that's true. Do you have any thoughts on, other than, you mentioned military streets, a lot of people would object to that. In fact, once you start talking about that, there are going to be a lot of people that say, well, look at that, a false flag type deal, done so that we can put military on the streets and control every movement of the American people. I guarantee you there are people dialing to say that right now.
I understand that. I mean, I follow some of the conspiracy theories out there and false flag ideas. I did a little studying on 9/11 because I was so close to it. But really, you can see a false flag in anything.
That's right, you can. And they also think that Sandy Hook was false flag. I get that all the time.
Yeah. But the thing is, the people getting killed are real. And the forces out there that can stop this sort of thing are there too. It's just that we're not seeing it realistically right now. We're not, we're still kind of like in a bubble here, in kind of a PC bubble, and it's crashing down around us, So at some point, we're going to have to get real.
Well, the bubble's about to break. I'm telling you, this is our future. The American people will demand that a lot of things happen very quickly. And boy, I'll tell you what's going on in Syria right now is so dangerous. And I don't mean, I do mean for every single soul that I'm speaking to right now, it could be World War III. And remember, those guys are lying, sir. That's what they want is World War III. The end of it.
Well, I heard your show on global thermonuclear war. I really have to have confidence that nobody's crazy enough to do that.
But they are.
So they are. That's what you're not getting. They definitely are that crazy. That is the center of what they believe. They want to bring about the end of the world.
I understand that, yeah.
Yeah.
I heard a great interview the other day. I was just pushing on the street and he interviewed and asked what the solution would be. And he said, let's just go over there and make it so Syrians can go home.
And on that note, I've got that's a break. Okay, so I'm sorry, there've been several people calling internationally and I haven't got to you yet. Please call again. In fact, it's going totally berserk on Skype. So if you want to get in, I'll give you the numbers. I'm Mark Dell. This is Midnight in the Desert. Midnight in the Desert. To call the show if you're east of midnight, call 1952. Call Art if you're west of midnight, call 1952-225-5278. All right, top of the hour, and let me tell you all, those of you I know some don't have this hour. I observed the CNN coverage of what's occurred in Southern California today, beginning to end. About 20 minutes ahead of airtime, the Associated Press ran a story with the name of one of the dead man. It's Syed Farook. Now, his dad has commented to a New York source that he is a very religious man. Prays a whole lot. Goes to mosque a lot. He is, according to the article we read from New York, a divorced couple. Probably not in a great frame of mind. And his dad is shocked, of course, as most dads are when they find out somebody had something to do, did something like this ages ago or might die. Bottom line here is that, terrorism has arrived at the personal, mindless kind of go into a grocery store or a crowded arena and commit mayhem kind of terrorism is right here. So what do you I canceled my guest. I'm sorry, it wouldn't be Charles Osman was going to be here on and we're going to get him here. I promise you we're going to reschedule Charles, but this is so important. Charles was going to talk about AI, artificial intelligence, and I'm asking you what you think we ought to do. And I'm getting some pretty surprising answers, I would say. So overseas, Joe, you're on here.
Oh.
Yeah, hi. Where are you?
I'm in China.
China. Oh.
Yeah, I'm in Shenzhen, China. Can you hear me well?
Yes, that's the factory town, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, I'm here. I'm listening to you all the time. I'm so glad you're back on the air. You're a great man. I want to tell you a little story that I had. A couple of years ago, I was coming back from Poland, and I was sitting next to a man, and he was well dressed, and he wanted to buy me a drink. Well, I know that they usually don't have a lot of money. And then he started to talk. He says, I'm a lawyer, and I'm from Russia. And he said, I wish that we would have guns. Otherwise, these people would have never done this to us. He was talking about the Communist Party. I was really shocked when he said that to me. But I just wanted to...
every single call I've got so far has been, we need guns. I agree, we need guns.
After in Croatia, too, Russia didn't attack them because everybody had a gun underneath their bed. And Tito said, okay, you want to come? He said, "I've got 8 million men that hit the streets, and they didn't attack or take Yugoslavia, Croatia at that time."
Well,
So,
you know where you
Gun.
live. And you know where you live. You can't have a gun.
Oh, no, not here, but they have a real bad people have guns. And,
They always do.
yes, they do. And they'll kill you, But the police are afraid to go over there after it's little, like, even in a big city like this, they call it a village. And they will attack the police. So, but they deal with them swiftly. Put a bullet in their head. So I'm careful here. I teach English. I'm your age, Art. I haven't given up. I haven't died yet. So I'm still working, and I think it's
Every day you wake up, new surprise.
yeah, essence of life. I want everybody to cheer up a little bit. Life isn't easy, and we have a great country.
May I ask you a question?
Yes.
Are you getting good news there?
Well, I would like to tell everyone that they love Obama. They love.
The Chinese love Obama? Okay.
Oh, of course, because he's weak. But they really like Putin. And
I don't want to get you in any trouble, but I mean, when I say are you getting good news there, I doubt you get CNN, for example, right?
yes, I can listen to CNN, anything. I got BPL. That's how I can get out of watch football games and all of that stuff. Yes.
Oh, no way. They don't like football, man.
Well, they do, but it's a lot easier to get this in there. But they won't let a conservative station. Fox is banned.
Really?
CNN isn't, but Fox is banned. No, they're conservative, like University of Chicago. It's very liberal, and they love University of Chicago.
So Fox is banned in China, CNN isn't.
Right.
Incredible. Right, so if you've got CNN, then you're getting the news and you know everything that's happening here, right?
Yes, I know everything's happening. My heart goes out to those people that got killed. I fought in Vietnam, and I understand violence, and I still believe we should have a right to bear arms. It's really important for us. So our government can't take us. I'm not a paranoid human being, but you never know what can happen.
Listen, I'm with you all the way, and that seems to be the argument that everybody wants to make. So,
and everyone should have a brave heart. We have to be tough. We have to be strong, and we have to go forward. We can't go backwards. We can't be feel sorry for everybody and bullies. My God, I don't know what's happening in our country. They don't have bullies here. They don't care about that stuff.
well, they don't shoot the bullies there.
Yeah, and lawyers, you go to Superior Court and
They shoot lawyers there?
oh yeah, they have lawyers.
No, I mean, I said they shoot lawyers?
No.
That's what I said.
No, they don't sue lawyers. At least I don't think so. But they don't sue, and everybody's responsible for themselves. There's no socialism here. It is all the capitalists, and they're growing.
That's pretty much pure communism, actually, right?
Well,
Or
no,
modified, it's modified communism.
yeah, it's capitalism and exhilarating. If you came here, you would see all our buildings here.
I've been there.
Yes, that's amazing.
How's the traffic, by the way?
It's awful, but I'm right outside of Hong Kong. Hong Kong is really blazingly, terrifically crowded, but it's different.
So,
I still like
hearing about this horrible thing that's happening in San Bernardino does not surprise you.
No, it doesn't. I mean, we have to be vigilant. We have to all be vigilant, not just sit there and take it like sheep. We have to be vigilant. We have to be aware, and we have to be protective of all our people. So I think we'll win in the end. I really have a lot of faith in our sense of waking us up, just like the Japanese did in Pearl Harbor. I just think that we'll come out of this, but we will lose some people.
I appreciate your call all the way from China, mainland China. See, that's what's really cool about this setup we've done. People can communicate to us from anywhere in the world. And so you don't just get the U.S. sort of take on it, you get the world's take on it. So if you're out in the world there, you want to call us, we are MITD55 on Skype. That's MITD55. Calls are just slamming in. Actually, we can't get a clear line. So let me try this. Somewhere in Wisconsin, I think you're on there.
Hello, is this Richard? I mean, is this Richard Josh? Thanks. I think you're talking to me, right?
Well, I don't know. Richard's not here.
Yeah, Richard, good. Mr. Bill, it's really an honor to talk to you. I just wanted to make a comment about the founding fathers. You know, they were single shot pistols and muzzle loaders. They weren't these automatic weapons.
Yeah.
So, you know, okay, so I think we should get back to, culture and the arts and, not just mentality, the hero.
Yeah, you're a little hard. You don't have a real good connection, sir. Either that or are you overly excited? I can't tell.
Well, I guess I'm going to talk on the radio before.
Okay.
But the superior warrior mentality, right makes right, and that everything to be solved for the gun instead of it's a pet. They had 6,000 monasteries.
All right, sir. Hold on for a second. I want to ask you a question because I didn't see where you're headed, okay? If you were in charge, and you're going to have to make this fast because you don't have a good connection, but if you were in charge, sir, and you could be a dictator and say, here's what's going to happen. Yeah, we're facing these people now who are going to come in, kill us in crowds and that sort of thing. What do we do? You're in charge. What would you do, sir?
Well, I guarantee you that all these hundreds of millions of guns that were in the country were banned. That just would have never happened.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for the call. And so there you go. Finally got the other side of it. Do you really think that's true? Are we going to end up in a gun rights argument tonight? Is that how this is going to go? He's obviously in favor of having all the guns taken. Said if they were all taken, boy, this would happen. Counter argument, of course. Lots of gun-free zones. Right? Where you can't carry a gun. You can't own a gun. A few places where you can't even own a gun. Oh, wait, that's where all the crime keeps happening. But we're not talking about crime right now. We're talking about mass terrorism, right? Roxanne, you're on the air. Oh, now
It's a sad day.
sorry.
Definitely a sad day, my dear. But Syria has a really big problem with refugees, and I really feel for them too, as well as the terrorists that are killing the people here in America. But I'm thinking, let's just get the president out of there. He's not wanted by anyone, really. He's not doing the Syrians any good. You have a step down. They ought to get really all the Syrians, get the ones that want out of there out. And let's just surround the country and just do like you do with a game or risk,
You said the president has to go.
Yeah,
Which president are you talking?
in Syria.
Bashar
Yes.
al-Assad.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, you agree with the U.S. who wants, yeah, it's so messed up. I'm sorry, I was wrong. It's us, we want him out. The problem,
It's not just
the only problem with that is, okay, I want you to address something for me if you really feel that way. If we get rid of Assad, I think it's probably doable. We could do it. But shouldn't we first look next door to Iraq? Because we got rid of that guy, right? And how did that turn out for us?
Yes, but we didn't have Russia and China on the back door, did we? We didn't have World War III ready to start, did we? You know, I live next to the missile silos. And if I see one of them boogers come up, I know it's the end, you know? So I'm not scared, but I'm seeing a lot of people on the internet talking about guns, talking about false flags. I'm tired of BS. But, you know, I'm trying to get real here. Let's just clean it up, get everything out of there, ISIS, everybody, clean the borders up on Iraq, and let's get Iran on a good note. And let's say, hey, you know, I know the people in Iran. They're really nice people. It's the government that's doing their game or whatever with whoever, and they have their fingers in every pot, and they want this big pipeline of oil to go through Syria. Remember that? And so now everybody's saying, oh, well, that's why we're there, you know. Well, we've got hundreds of thousands of refugees that have left everything they know. And we're not talking about just poor people. We're talking about people that own land. We're talking about people who love their land, who've been there for generations. This hurts, you know, them. So let's get rid of the bad boys, okay? And let's surround it with love. I should never go any other way.
Well, everybody else can talk about guns.
I know, and I knew you'd open that can of worms. I knew that was going to happen.
I'm sorry, I didn't need to do that. I mean, these people are calling on their own. I did not, you know, all I said was what we knew about it. And the answer for everybody is, get your gun.
Well, you know, don't get your gun, but use your brain. Guns don't kill people. People kill people.
Right. But that's a little overused.
He was made us laugh. That's the first laugh I had all day.
He did. And he's a pretty brave soul, too, because they won't like you anyway. He's great.
But anyway, I want to shout out to Art Bell Time Travelers group on Facebook, and also for people to get into artbells.com to buy the archives. They're
All right.
everything.
Thank you. That's very sweet of you to say, and I agree with you. The archives are very worthy indeed. You can listen anytime you want to. And of course you can use the wormhole, which I guess I should be paying attention to, right? Let me take it. Of course, Art, you're going to have just gun debate callers, people who've lost the ability to think outside the talking points of the fascist talking heads on both sides. The gun argument that everybody should have a gun. Listen, I agree with you. Let's not prolong the agony of this. I agree. If there were more guns by people who were sane, who were willing to carry one, because let me tell you something, it's not actually that much fun to have to carry a gun. It's quite a pain in the butt, quite literally. Any cop will tell you after the, I suppose, thrill of being able to carry a gun when they first become a cop, it quickly gets very, very old. I don't like carrying a gun. I'm authorized to do so, but I don't like it. On all kinds of levels, I don't like it. So I'm not going to argue with you about guns. Yes, of course, it would help if more people had guns, knew how to use them properly, and then maybe fewer would die in these mass incidents. The big question is, what are people going to do about these mass things that keep occurring? This, I believe, is the beginning. By the way, one of you out there might update me. Have they yet, on CNN, decided to call it terrorism, suspected international terrorism? I had to leave coverage about, 2 hours ago? Even though I've got up-to-date and up-to-minute information, I don't know what they're saying. Okay, let's go to Dutch. Hello, Dutch, you're on the air.
Hey, Art, it's great to finally talk to you. I have been listening since Charlie was radio.
Oh my God.
Hey, I think you're right. I don't know if this is turning into a gun debate. I think people need to think a little bit larger. It's a war. It finally happened on sacred, precious American soil, but the battlefield is It's here. It's San Bernardino. And that's the mindset. We have to realize the war has come to America.
Yes, well, let's just assume that most people, rational people, and I shouldn't assume this, but most of them are going to think that people having guns who, know how to use them might save some lives. But the bigger question is how we're going to address this, what we're going to do in Syria, and that's where it's got to be addressed. It will continue here, but the genesis of this is without question in Syria. Absolutely. The genesis is in what they believe. This belief, and they want the end of the world. And they want us on the ground. They want our troops to fight. I know they want all that. Should we give it to them in spades? Or not?
Let's take a step back. Yes and no. Let's take a step back, right? And I don't want to get political either. But
no, go ahead. Whatever.
Okay, the Obama administration, their narrative on Benghazi, right?
Yes.
Was we all know that it was a lie, right? The right got on the television on Sunday and told a lie and sold us that narrative, and it's not true. So here's the thing: what right-minded, thinking person on the planet is going to believe the narrative coming out of the administration right now? So we can't even trust the information coming from the national leadership. What we heard about Libya was...
Well, let's you and I go back to Benghazi for just a moment, okay? You said it was a lie, and kind of, it was a lie. It was a spin, and yeah, I think you're right to say it was a lie, and so we know our government does lie to us, right?
Well,
I guess we have that.
We
have that. We have that as a base, that they spin things the way they want them spun.
So how can we trust them with Libya, with Syria? How can we trust the narrative? So sending troops in under lies, disingenuousness, and false narratives, we're never going to get the people behind the real problems in the Middle East. As long as it's knee-jerk reaction to the battlefield in San Bernardino or the battlefield and wherever it continues to happen in the United States. So the knee-jerk stuff is going to get us in trouble. It's not strategic thinking. It's not tactical thinking. Right? It's knee-jerk stuff.
All right, so give me some strategic, tactical thinking.
All right, so let's say that you look at rather a military decision versus a political decision. The strategic agility in the military mind suggests that the no-fly zones work. They also, one area Obama's probably right, you want to avoid World War III at all costs.
I'll go for that.
So, how do we avoid Cameron's mistake and appeasement? How do we do that, right? So what we do is we leverage our technology. We leverage our technology in the Middle East and with the Russians, and we create no-fly zones. And when you draw a red line, we stick to that red line. So maybe right now, Assad is the lesser of two evils. And so how do you profit that government, make it safer, do no-fly zones, and make this a real military issue, whether it's on the borders of Turkey, Syria, or Iraq. That's the thing. So that's level of strategic thinking is right. So if you
Stop. Let's talk about no-fly zones for a second, because you said we should have no-fly zone, right?
Correct.
Okay, so let's say we announce no-fly zone, and the Russians fly. What would you do?
So again, we come back to Chamberlain's problem. How do we...
No, you're the president. Okay, we have no-fly zone because you decreed it so. Now, the Russians just violated the no-fly zone. What do you do, Mr. President?
If there are American lives in danger, all right, if there's a real situation where American lives are in danger, you react one way. But if you take a look at the missile Cuban crisis, our planes took damage, our planes took bullets from the Cubans, but the pilots were ordered to not get shot. And by being ordered not to get shot, in essence, they didn't report being shot, then they prevented a huge crisis in Cuba back in the 60s.
All right, and so then how would you move that thinking into a situation, Mr. President, where your no-fly zone has just been violated? Russia's flying jets like crazy, like they are right now. So what do we do?
So if American interests and lives are in danger and you break the no-fly zone, then you don't react to militarily. Something happens behind you, there's a conversation, you pick up the phone,
Well, that's
along those lines.
okay. That's not a no-fly zone.
Okay, so
And then what you're saying, if they fly, then you ignore it.
well, so it's not that you ignore it. You come back to channels, right? You appease an incident, you appease a tiny, itty-bitty, isolated incident, or do you appease a policy that's protracted with a new dangerous place?
Mr. President, don't draw lines that you're not going to react to if they're crossed.
Well, the first time, American interests are attacked,
Yeah.
whether it's Russian or Chinese or Iraq or Iran, then we have to react. But if there's no danger, then if it's an error or it's even just a snub nose, sometimes you have to turn the other cheek and let things go behind the scenes.
All right, sir, I appreciate your call. And I can see that turn cheek. Yes, sir. There'll be some reaction back. Guarantee. You're on the air.
Hello, Art. How you doing today?
Well, you're listening, right?
Yeah, it's a sad evening tonight.
It is.
I've gone through enough with 9/11. I was an NYPD veteran for 25 years. My name is John from New York.
John, I hear the New York in you.
It's like flying action, so to speak. But I went through a lot with 9/11. I worked with the FBI anti-terrorist task force. I retired from PD. I still work in law enforcement in the city, though, within the city. I work so there was a threat down there or something going on. And I noticed a lot during 9/11 that working with the FBI, closely with them and seeing what their mentality was, there was a problem in New York. People couldn't handle the security that was involved in trying to stop stuff like this from happening. The tension level was through the roof at that time. I would come in, and you're probably familiar with that. Have you been here before?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So I used to drive down patrol car, and we hit the 70s. This is like the day after 9/11. It was number 12 to do. We drive down through 72nd Street. Everything above 72nd Street was one big party. You had people in all the bars and the clubs. It was their way of venting. They were smoking, drinking,
Sure.
acting like nothing happened. You got past 72nd Street, and the city was a ghost town. And it was like a morgue all the way down to ground zero. So I spent 4 months down there working with this mess. And you could see that the tension level was so high. I mean, I saw a side of New York I never expected to see. You had people that were extra nice. They would cry, come up to you and just hug you. And thank you for helping. They'd fight over who's going to buy you a cup of coffee in the morning.
Right.
The problem you had is that shortly after 9/11, the tension level was so high, they had no way to relieve it. Even the psychologists within the city were comforting each other because they didn't know how to handle it. Went back to their old ways of doing things. They started to act like nothing happened. So what you need to do in a country like this, you have to look at, and I use an example of Israel because they're a pretty good example of continuous terrorism.
They are. Yes, they are.
Yeah, the prime example. And their security methods, to me, are some of the best you can get in the world.
They are.
They're able, if you notice, and I hate to say it this way, but they don't smile that much when you see them. They're very serious people, very serious group.
I found Israel to be an interesting place. When you walk down the street, you see young kids with automatic weapons slung over their shoulder. It's just like part of everyday life.
Well, exactly. That's what you're getting there. And if you listen to them when they had the latest group of attacks happen at the bus stops, they were encouraging their citizens to carry their weapons. Anyone that has a weapon,
I know. Hey, listen, I'm coming up on a break. Can you hold on?
sure, definitely.
All right, I'll be back to you in New York. New York PD knows what he's talking about. This is Midnight in the Desert, and we will be back.
Midnight in the Desert doesn't scream colors. We trust you, but remember, the NSA. Well, you know, to call the show, please dial 1-952-225-5278. That's 1-952. Call Mark.
That's nice. There was a little breakup in that, and actually the way it was this time, when you mentioned NSA, it was like on the phone. Sorry, finding a little humor in an otherwise horrible day at work. We're talking about what happened in San Bernardino today. I followed every minute of it. And I've got I guess now retired cop in New York. Is that right? Retired, right?
Yes, retired, but still active in law enforcement. I have another job with the city in law enforcement.
You never really give it up, right?
No, once it's in your blood, if you enjoy what you do, to me, I like helping people. So, I mean, I have a master's in psychology and just about finishing up a PhD in clinical psych. So,
all right, so we have, I love your comments. I mean, I think this may be the beginning of these kinds of attacks, just crowds and just shooting a bunch of people, as many as you can. That's what we're facing, probably influenced from Syria, or maybe influenced Syria, that way. Anyway, what would you say if you could mandate what would be done, you would do?
well, first thing I would do is I would have to get the people in this country used to very heavy increases in security, which, again, the tolerance level in this country in general. I mean, it's a free country. Nobody likes military-style tactics. Nobody likes having to go through metal detectors all the time. But if you start looking at the type of attacks that are going to be happening, I've been saying it since 9/11, and the FBI task force I worked with at the time said it's going to happen again. It's going to happen here. It's just a matter of time and when it's going to happen. And this was back then. And again, New York City NYPD is very good at breaking stuff up before it happens, but it's still eventually going to happen. So me, I would start implementing where you're going to have security, armed security at loads of places. You can have armed security in schools. Any place where there's large gatherings of people, you're going to need metal detectors. The other thing is, what do you do with the subway system? Well, you can have metal detectors at the subway entrances, because all you need to do is hit a couple of subways, a couple of bridges, and a couple of locations at the same time, like they did in Paris and California type of thing. They'll bring the city to a standstill. As it is with the traffic jams in these big cities, they have enough trouble getting around. Picture an attack like that, eliminating a tunnel or a bridge or something. That's all you need. So they have to increase heavy security in that sense, metal detectors. The stop and frisk laws that the mayor of this city just stopped, which I don't agree with that. You have to start increasing it, because since he stopped it, the crime rate in the city has gone through the roof. And if you have a suspicion that somebody may be carrying something, there are many mornings, because I get up at 5 a.m., so I'm not working with the crowds. There are many mornings where I'll go to work and I'll see something, because I take buses and trains to get to work in Cologne, Manhattan, so I'm not doing field work. So I'll see something on the subway. I mean, one day I had that sort of boxes of metal stuff underneath the benches they have in the subway system. Other people just walk by and nothing's going on. I'll stop, I'll call in, I'll let the motorman know. I'll say, look, get PD down there. changed a lot since when I was a kid growing up in the 60s and 70s, 70s pretty much. As a kid growing up, things were different back then. You had your things going on, but not to this extent. What's changed that brought all this on? That's another thing you have to look at.
And I wonder is that, you're right. So you're saying, look, get ready for it. Life is going to change in ways you may not like. It's going to happen.
It is. There's no way around it. And until you get yourself prepared for that mental state, like I said, I saw it with 9/11 big time, and I saw how they returned to, like they had security in the tunnels, the Holland Tunnel, Lincoln Tunnel. They had security where if you were PD or anybody who was federal, you'd identify yourself and they'd let you run through the tunnels. The tunnels were off limits to anybody but emergency personnel.
Sure, and I know the time targets. Look, we don't have a lot of time, but I do want to ask you about this. What would you think we should do in Syria? God, it's dangerous over there. It's getting worse by the minute. And that's, frankly, where all this is coming from. This caliphate is where all this stuff is coming from.
Well, it's coming from Syria, but understand that prior to Syria, you had other countries that can't stand America and our beliefs and everything else. So you already have tons of terrorists that are pocketed in this country that people don't know about. They're homegrown, they're in the country, they have American passports. Now, you could go in and eliminate Syria. You could go in and take the shot out and do what you have to do with this. But the problem you're going to have is Russia. Russia, you don't want to start World War III. That's another disaster you want to try to avoid. So it's a chess game out there. It's a chess game in Syria. Because of the position that Russia's taking on things, China's taking on things. What do you actually do? Do you send the troops in? That might be an alternative to eliminate the Syrian problem. But you're still going to have all these people in this country that are already here.
I think originally we were all in favor of taking out Assad. But, I wonder if we thought it through, because we took out the leader there in Iraq, and that just didn't work out.
That backfired. It wasn't a good thing.
So
you have to come to an agreement. They really should sit down with Putin, talk things out. But you have to look at, is taking out the Syrian threat going to eliminate the threat to this country and the rest of the world? You have to look at that's the factor you really need to take a close look at. What could be done to protect American lives, to protect French lives? You want to protect your citizens of your country. Now, do you close all immigration for a time? Because I'll be honest with you, there's really no way to completely vet a citizen from another country that doesn't have any records on them. There's no way to safely do it. I don't care how many people in the NSA or the CIA and everybody else you have investigating them. Because now they're saying, we're going to do 3 years of vetting to get them in. It doesn't work that way. If you don't know their background, you're taking their word for stuff. So it's not an end. It's a tough spot. It's a tough spot. And the only thing I can see logically to do, seriously, is prepare the people in this country. Now, in the meantime, if you get Assad out and do what you have to do there, all right, they'll bring some of it down. But you still have to worry about the fanatics that are already here. In my view, there's a fine line between religion and fanaticism.
Oh, is there?
There's a very fine line. And believe me when I tell you, you can tell right away who's going to cross that line. With me, it's a gut feeling after all the years of doing what I've done. But if you watch closely, you'll see who gets angry with religion. Religion's supposed to be a peaceful thing, not supposed to be a violent thing. But once they get angry and have such hostility that they want to hurt people, those are the ones you have to look at.
They want the end of the world.
Yeah, they want the end of the world because they're going to get their 7 virgins and be in paradise and everything else. And they have a view of life that is totally different from the majority. Now, what's the right view? Everybody can say, well, my view is right, their view is right. It's not even that. It's a matter of who's going to act on their view and take action to stop what's going on. But if this country would wake up more and get the security going, and if they can handle it, they really need to be able to handle an increased security level. Because I know New Yorkers in general, we're very resilient people in this city, but they walked around. When I was working with the FBI group, the terrorist task force, they said to me, John, I got to tell you, they said in the last week, the security level in the tunnels had dropped. That was the point I was trying to bring out, that there was a while where all you had to do was hold up a badge. They weren't stopping to be. And I agree with that 100%. He said, this is why you can't, people in general, not just New Yorkers in general, do you think people in where you're located in Nevada, do you think they can handle increased security? Can they handle metal detectors? Would they like to see that?
I think they can handle metal detectors, but if it gets to the degree that it is in Israel, not so much.
Exactly. And like I say, I use New York as the example because that 72nd Street was the benchmark for me. When I saw them relieving stress by drinking and smoking and increasing their partying, and then they're going to a ghost town down below, you could see the tension levels through the roof.
Look, you're a caller. You're one of the best callers I've ever had, but I'm going to have to go. Become a regular caller.
I called last night for the first time in a while, so I'm glad you back on the air. I spoke to you during that Todd visit last night. It was very interesting.
Thank you, and thank you, brother, for calling. I mean that. All right, very quickly, John, thank you to my producer, John Lieber. MD-PC is a forensic psychiatrist and the author of Suicidal Mass Murders, a criminological study of why they kill, Arts of Darkness, why kids are becoming miserable, and is a specialist dealing with the horizontally insane terrorist attacks that are going on. And so here he is, if I press the right button, I hope. John, the doctor, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's good to have you. And I take it you've been following the news in your line of study all day like crazy.
Yes, I have. I have been able to follow it very closely since about noon today.
So, okay, what do you make of it so far?
It's very different than the hundreds of cases that I've been studying and following since 2008 when I first began researching and writing about the subject of suicidal rampage murders.
I don't know that this is an accurate figure, but I heard on CNN earlier today that out of the last 200 and some odd incidents of the type you just described, almost all of them were committed by single, mentally disturbed people. And so that makes this, of course, very, very rare. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, with the exception of 911 and the Boston bombings.
Right.
Those I believe are a category unto themselves. The Fort Hood shootings, Major Hassan, and I would say that Dylan Roof down in South Carolina is a little bit off the meter too. I'm not sure about him, but the rest of them, for the most part, including this last guy in Colorado Springs, these people are diagnosable and more likely than not psychotic.
Mm-hmm. So generally, a single crazy person. This was at least 2, possibly 3. I'm not up on the latest news, but I know that it's...
the latest news is 2.
Syed Farouk, who is dead, and Rashid Malik, I believe it is, also dead.
Correct.
And you're thinking, we talked just before you got on the air, that they're married?
That's what the police chief said in the last...
Okay. There's also a story out there that they were divorced, that he was divorced. So I guess we'll find out ultimately what is true. But, you know, what does this to you fit? What fits when we look at what we've seen so far? Is this probably internationally inspired terrorism?
I think it's internationally inspired terrorism. Is it internationally controlled terrorism? That remains to be seen.
Either way, though, it's the same end effect. Somebody went out and was killing a bunch of innocent people. So whether it's influence or, you know, directly controlled, I kind of doubt it's directly controlled, and that's only a guess on my part. But either way, it goes back to the same sort of place. I mean, back to what's going on in Syria.
It's back to Paris, I think. There was a woman involved in that.
Well, could well be. Could well be. You're right. There was a woman involved in that. So
she committed suicide too. I consider this suicide a mass murder. These people could have easily gotten out of town. They had plenty of time. They were at the right place. I was really quite surprised that they hung around. They had to know that they were going to die.
do you think they did know they were going to die? And do you think there's a chance
they had to know they were going to die?
Chance they were going to try and commit another attack when they got in?
I think that they planned to have another attack, but I don't think that they planned to live. I mean, I don't think that they were, I don't think that they were, completed their mission. But if they really wanted to do some national damage, make a footprint nationally, they hit the intersection of 215 and Highway 10. I was expecting to read about them passing through Phoenix on our evening news. That would have been just about the right time. It's not that hard to get from that intersection to Phoenix in that amount of time.
You made it to where I am.
If they had gone up 215, they could have. If they'd gone east on 10, they could have come around.
Okay, I have a big...
They hit that. I thought they selected their target based on logistics, and that does not appear to be correct.
Doctor, you're an expert at this sort of thing, and the United States has a very large number of, what I call head shakers, mass murders, where generally the person committing is going to, they know they're going to end up dead, usually by their own hand. It's almost unique to America. It's mostly involving males, not so many females involved, so it is unusual from that point of view. Here's my question for you. I also, as an adult, lived many years in the Philippines, where conditions are much worse economically than here. And when I say much worse, I mean people survive like on $2 a day. But they don't have mass murders, other than military action once in a while. They don't have mass murderers, and there's some cultural difference between here and there that I would love to see examined.
Through the South.
Of the Philippines. Yeah, you go down to the southern part of the Philippines, and Abu Sayyaf may well grab you and chop your head off. But what that's a political, contentious, military kind of thing. What I'm talking about is people who just decide to go berserk and go out and kill as many people as they can before they are themselves killed. Yeah, there's not much of that going on, Doctor. And I wonder why in that, it's 94 million people or more now. So as a big sample, why don't they have it? And we have so much of it. Any thoughts?
If you're looking at it from the perspective of transcultural psychiatry, comparing one society and culture to another,
you can dial back to the Society Islands back in the, there's a literature on there back in the 70s during the Vietnam War, and we were, again, during that period of time, we were interested in violence.
Dr. Hudson, we have a very short break, 2 minutes.
Okay, go ahead.
2 minutes, and I'll bring you right back. So stay right there. Think about what I said and see if you have an answer. This is Midnight in the Desert. With us at the moment, Dr. John Liebert, who's an expert on this sort of thing. Be right back. This is Midnight in the Desert. To call the show in your Eastern Midnight, call 1952. Call the heart in your Western Midnight, call 1952-225-5278. I'm on the line with Dr. John Liebert, who is an expert on this sort of thing. And that is mass murders and terrorist attacks. He's back on, and if you want to expand on why there might be this incredible difference in what's going on in America, I'd love you.
Sure. Well, of course, this is, theoretical. I've never thought of comparing the Philippines with the United States. However, I think that it's a valid comparison. What you're saying could very likely be true. I mean, I'll take your word for it. The Society Islands, when they were studied back in the days of Vietnam, another time, a period of history when we had riots on campus, Vietnam, etc. Violence was a big issue in psychiatry, so we were studying it at that time, and now we're studying it again. But at that time, we were looking at the Society Islands, I believe it's French Polynesia now, and that was really basically before the tourist industry had moved in. It was a little bit more pure culture. And in comparing the United States society to the Society Islands at that time, there was close to zero in the way of assault, close to zero in the way of mental illness. They just simply did not get the problems we're talking about.
I get it.
And the theory being that there are three factors: symmetry, intensity, and competitiveness. The Society Islands, people do not compete.
Let's leave those islands for a moment and leave the Philippines as well, Doctor. Let's talk for a second about Japan. Japan is one of the most intensely, from a business perspective, it's one of the most intensely competitive countries in the world. I know Japanese very well, and they're really, really competitive, but they too almost never commit.
Of course, they have that really bizarre incident, sarin gas. That was a cult. Of course, again, you have to.
I mean, I admit we're competitive.
I think this stuff gets screened out. We're a little bit more transparency here, but I would say that Japan is probably. I feel safer walking around the streets there. But you got synergy. Japan, they're pretty, except for the Korean population, which is pretty small. They're all Japanese. I think that what's the North Korean population is?
Almost entirely North Korean.
I don't know if that's like 1% of the country.
Oh, you mean in terms of population factor in Japan? Very tiny.
Yeah, it's very small. I mean, not all Japanese and tourists. And so you've got, like the Society Islands, you've got symmetry, synergistic population.
our population, for better or for worse, is, it's almost like a national mission today to be diverse. I mean, look what's going on in our university campuses. You can't go on to the University of California campus or on campus and you give a lecture on turning back the clock and reducing the diversity on campus. I mean, you get run off the campus. And so, for better or for worse, our population is not synergistic. We're moving in the other direction.
So you think it's our individuality that is the culprit?
Well, I think there are many factors involved. But you were comparing the Philippines to the United States from a sociological or cultural point of view. I'm just addressing that. There are other factors in the United States, but if you're looking at the point of view of other nations, I mean, we're moving towards, diversity on our campuses. It's almost like an academic mission.
But you're laying out diversity as really the basic problem.
No, I don't think it's the basic problem. It's a cultural problem because you were referring to the Philippines.
Okay, you can drop the Philippines. Look, it's 94 or better. Near 100 million people. They're about 90% Catholic, 86% something like that Catholic. That's why I compare Philippines, because I live there and I know it. So they just don't have these kind of mass murders. And I was just curious if you might have thought about, they're pretty individual over there.
I do think that the analogy to the Society Islands is a factor. The symmetry, the synergy, the competitiveness, and the intensity of interpersonal relations that you have in the tropical areas that aren't too affected by modernism and tourism. They have a lower incidence of this type of behavior.
Almost zero, actually. But don't get me wrong. You can get your pocket picked. You can, there's plenty of crime that goes, of that type, but not the violent crime, not the mass murder.
But there's a purpose in that. It's, it's robbery. That's very different than what we're talking about.
It is. All right, then let me ask you this. In the 80s, President Ronald Reagan more or less emptied out the psychiatric hospitals.
That's a whole different issue.
Well, is it really? Why is it? Why?
It's a very different issue.
Why?
Well, because public psychiatry, for a number of complex reasons, doesn't exist anymore. And we used to have state psychiatric institutions, some of which were, better than anything we have now. Seriously mentally ill, and we had some horrible places. But there was a move in store to shut down the institutions because they were so horrible. Okay, so there were some activists, mostly psychiatrists, a few, and then there was John Kennedy who got into office, and he had a great deal of concern and burden with his oldest sister, Rosemary, who was mentally ill and institutionalized, had a frontal lobotomy. And he was easy. He was a very soft touch for this group that wanted to close the state institutions and replace it with a better system. And the timing
couldn't have been better or couldn't have been worse. But
So is that what we did? We replaced it with better.
that we stayed institutions, and we replaced it with a federal mental health system that it really did get up and running because the President of the United States was fully behind it for personal reasons. And the only problem is that this mental health system was not designed properly. It didn't do what it was supposed to do. It didn't take care of the seriously mentally ill. It became sort of, a place where, anybody could go and become a famous psychoanalyst and have their own little practice and that kind of thing. And it didn't do what it was supposed to do. It didn't take care of the patients who were dumped out of the state institutions. Reagan then closed the institution so much as he did support the elimination of involuntary commitment. That's another issue.
Well, all right, Doctor, I'm still out of time. I've got to run, but I want to thank you for appearing on the program tonight. And we may well come back and consult you as we continue to discuss this. Thank you.
It is true that our public psychiatric system is basically gone.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. Trust me, I get that. Most of the mass murders are frankly done by very mentally ill individuals. So they're at the very last. You sort of got to the point I was trying to get to somewhat earlier. Hello in Las Vegas. You're on the air.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm confused. I don't know why Zeitgeist is going to be this way, but I'm trying to wrap my head around the idea of three things in the three different columns. 9/11, the Boston Marathon bombing, the Times Square shooting, the 4th. That was the longest jihad. Then we get down to Columbine, Virginia Tech, Aurora, Sandy Hook, Oregon Community College, University of Seattle, and on and on and on. Right? Now, these were, presumably, white young men. Let's take the presumption that they were a Christian family of some sort of Christian belief. You have Charles from South Carolina, you have Ferguson, you have Chicago, you have Cleveland. This is the racial issue. It's still, all of this, in a sense, is a community form of terrorism. What Stanford and Kills falls into, I have no idea. Because this could be merely a very emotional, upset Middle Eastern man who's very down on his luck and goes, okay, I'm going out, I want to be famous. I've been nothing all my life. I knew a lot of Saudis and some guys from Abu Dhabi when I went to college. Great guys, tremendously emotional. Generous to a fault, but also extremely volatile. And sometimes put things the wrong way. And we're immediately ready to either draw blood or give you up auto stocks. It was one way or the other. Then there's something else that was, you were talking to this doctor. Do you remember way back when we had an issue in Northern Ireland with Sinn Féin?
Yes.
And this went on for 87 years. And that was vicious. That was vicious warfare, or as bad as terrorism as any other place on earth.
Right.
Russell Brooks is the deal in '94.
Right. Okay. So your overall point is.
My point is that if you remove any form of, let's say, he's a Christian, he's a Muslim, he's whatever, it's still, we are facing on a consistent basis where we're being anesthetized with this every week. When we're seeing these kinds of atrocities.
Well, I will give you that, sir, but I'm telling you right now, this is the beginning of a new level. Something, Europe made a very good point. He said the American people are going to have to get used to a level of security that they can't even imagine. And we're not going to take to it well, and I agree with him. We're not going to take to it well at all. And yet I'm not sure what the alternative is. So I'm leaving it up to all of you. Speaking of, you've seen what occurred. You probably have your own view of what's going on. And Dale's been waiting a long time on Skype. Dale, hi.
Hey, Art, how are you doing today?
Everybody else been back. Sore back a little bit, the knees bothering me, and, my right toe, I don't know about that.
It's not that living line on it.
Go ahead, sir.
So, I got a little bit different take on this than a police officer had. And my thinking goes back to the days of the neocons, where we thought that our best security lay in basically controlling everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that worked out well. I think what we need to do is find our own fences, build a wall, seal the border, let people through who have acceptable documentation. And I take the other gentleman's point that that's going to be a problem, but we should start by slamming the door and then gradually letting more people in.
I think that is probably what makes Trump so popular, taking that point of view. And as these things keep happening, I think that this is like change voters going to Trump, I would think.
Probably. And then I would purge the suspicious people who've entered from Syria and that area of the world known trouble spots for the last 2 years.
Yes.
And again, be very conservative about that. And then I don't think the police are going to be able to protect us unless we activate the National Guard and we become like any other European state with people with machine guns all over the place. And I don't think everybody carrying weapons would. That's not controllable. We're going to have criminals running around.
Look, we've got the second people that run.
How about concealed carry? Let's encourage people to get the training beforehand. Yeah,
I agree with you 100%. You're not going to get any argument with me. If somebody knows how to handle a gun, they've got a clean record, let them carry a gun. And maybe they stop something like this. In San Bernardino, in California, probably lots of cops, of course. We saw them all. But I mean, in terms of people in that area who might have guns, almost zero.
Yeah. There'd be weak spots, of course. And then I don't think we need the oil out of the Middle East anymore. I would try and gradually stop invading countries there and let the Russians run things. It's their backyard. Let's let them take the lead. And I'm sure Putin would jump at that. If we went
He has jumped at that. He has jumped at it. But at the time, he said, let the Russians go bomb the hell out of ISIS, right? And the trouble is that they're not bombing ISIS.
Yeah, they're helping us to death.
That's right. Exactly right, sir. And then on top of all this, and more important even than this, awful as it is, we're kind of on the edge of the possibility of a world war here.
Yeah, I don't, my thought on that is like, Turkey, you shot down a Russian plane. Yeah, I know it was over your airspace. I know this, I know that, but you don't shoot down Russian planes. So, staying out of World War III, that has to be the
All right, so now we've got Russia that has brought these hardly accurate missiles into Mach 5. And what happens if, I don't know, if they shoot down an American jet?
We say you're sorry, and we go on.
No.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to give the people.
What if it's not an accident?
Then the pilots flying that plane would want us to not start World War III.
Yeah, I don't want to start World War III, but I'm telling you, it's innocent over there.
Yep. All right.
So, what do we do here back in the homeland? Do we turn it into Israel? I've been there. It's kind of uncomfortable, actually.
Yeah. No, and that's why I don't think the police can solve it. I don't think that's the right tool. I think the right tool is becoming situationally aware, getting the training to conceal carry, more people doing that. We have to arm ourselves, as they say, because no one else here will save us.
Well, no, you're wrong. Everybody's saying it. Thank you. Everybody's saying it, right? My callers tonight, I would say, and I think I'm being conservative, that about 80% of them are calling for as much gun ownership as possible. I'm not necessarily against that idea. I just don't think that it's going to solve a lot. It makes you feel better, but if we have to fear going to the supermarket, we're going to a baseball game or a football game, or just, going downtown into an area where there's a crowd, something that would attract people who want to kill for no reason. Well, no reason that we in the West understand very well. How about that? Let's go on the phone to Anchorage, Alaska. Hello. Yes. I don't know about timeless. I feel the clock ticking, sir.
No, you guys are just long, hundreds of thousands of people who talked and helped, and I was so timeless. Real quick, as well, just the first thing I want to do is let me know my heart goes out to those people who are innocent and got hurt, okay?
Of course, yes.
I think that sometimes we forget that. That's the one that's I love talk radio for a multitude of reasons. My friends, I was hurrying home to hear your show, and they said, geez, Paul, why don't you turn here and get to our Bill? It's a talk show. And I told you, in your world it is, in my world, when we talk to our Bill, there's about 100 other alien races out there, and some of them just come out of light warp speed, and they're all these roads, switch on the switch for the Art Bell talk show. So hard. And if they are out there, I want them to all on my frequency. I want to make contact with them. So, no more lights. I just want to get that out there, okay?
All right. Well, if you get there, sir, ask them about their culture. Ask them how it's working for them. Ask them what they're doing about this kind of problem. Or, since they probably don't have this kind of problem, ask them why they think we do. Quick, your turn on Skype.
Good evening, Art. Calling from Canada, and I just want to offer a bit of solidarity to our best neighbors down in the south. I'm really sorry that this stuff is going on, and it's a damn tragedy, to be honest.
It sure is.
I just wanted to bring a little bit of history on the subject surrounding ISIS.
Yes.
There's been a lot of misconception, and you've been saying a lot that they're trying to bring about the end of the world.
They are.
Doom cult, and that's just not factually true. It's not based around.
It is true. No, sir, it's true.
Okay, what they want to do is spread Islam across the entire planet. And while us in the West, we can see that as definitely it's the end of our world, they're not trying to bring about some sort of end of the book of Revelations. And I'm gonna quote directly from their hadith. I'm gonna quote directly from
But anybody can quote from anything. Fact of the matter is, that is what they want. They have made their own interpretation that includes bringing about the end of days.
There's nothing in anything that
I know
that is said
you will not read
that states that. There's nothing in any of their literature which states that, and I don't think that that's what they're going for. I wanted to clear that they want to spread Islam as far and wide as they possibly can around the world.
Well, certainly they do have the attitude that either you convert or you die. Right, they've had that attitude.
And they're done with the converting part because they're also killing Muslims.
I think, sir, that they have concluded that we're not going to convert. And that leaves us with the doctrine.
Indeed, and secondly, I wanted to point out that there's definitely going to be no Russia versus the United States or Warsaw Pact versus NATO, because Putin, as despotic as he seems, and as much of an iron grip as he seems to have on Russia, if you look at his popularity with the Russians, he's constantly polling at 80-90%, because they like the smart moves he's playing. But they understand that if you go to war with NATO, if you go to war with the United States, Putin will be flat on his butt outside of the Kremlin in less than 12 hours. There's no way the Russian people would go along.
Well, it would only take one insane moment. I'm not convinced that Putin is completely sane. Are you really?
I think he's actually quite sane. He might be one of the sanest of the Western leaders right now. I mean, you don't get to survive 25 plus years in the KGB and then the FSB.
When you survive in the KGB,
that's pretty much it.
Sure.
KGB, you're always KGB.
Oh, yeah. I believe you. And the way you survive is taking out those who disagree with you.
That's a little bit sociopathic, and also and it's the sociopaths that seem to make the best leaders, and not the psychopaths.
Oh, okay.
Sociopaths play like the games.
They make the best leaders. Well, okay.
All right. Anyways, thanks for having me on. I have a lot to talk about, but I don't want to take on the air. Just
no. Leave me with that, sir. Sociopaths make the best leaders. I'll accept that. I'll accept the fact that you said that. Let's go to North Day down south in Florida, I think. Hi.
Hello.
Oh.
Is this me?
Well, only you know that for sure, but it sounds like you.
Okay. Well, it's a pleasure and honor to talk to you.
Thank you.
Listen to your peers. Okay. This is a rather interesting situation because I think that all the Muslims that were born in the Middle East, that Obama has set these things up, plus stores, there's some videos there, there's non-government organizations and movements, and then they set the fire, and they're pushing them up into Europe as well as Obama supporting ISIS by leaving the weapons there for them, and there's a lot of things that resulted in Obama spreading Islam more than any other caliph in centuries. So they're moving up into Europe.
Well, I'm not sure it's fair to say that Obama left weapons there knowing that they would be taken by these guys in black. How could he possibly have known that? I'm not a gigantic Obama fan, but after all, sir, this war and those weapons and that money that they got their hands on, all that stuff, that was kind of there already. And the Iraqis turned tail and ran, and that's how they got it.
Which was to be expected, and I think some of our military expected that, but there was nothing they could do. But this whole thing has resulted in tremendous stress throughout Europe and the United States. We wanted 9/11, 3 million Muslims, she wants another million or more. And Homa Abedin says she wants as many Syrian refugees as possible. That's Hillary's main advisor. It's backed on Asia, which is a Muslim conquest by immigration, which is how they started this. When they took over what's called Medina now. They made a peace treaty, and then halfway through they slaughtered 2 of the 3 tribes. But, this is to be expected. I mean,
So cutting through everything as quickly as I can, you think Obama is trying to spread Islam as best he can by his own actions? In other words, you think he's Muslim, right?
I don't know if he's Muslim or not, but by his actions, he's done these things. Either he's incredibly incompetent or he's following some of these instructors, or he's intentionally doing it. It's just that the end result is what's happened. Different decisions made since his first day in office would have resulted in an entirely different world.
Yeah, I can't stand beyond all his decisions, that's for sure. I don't. All right. Bottom of the hour break. So we're talking, you, 9, all of us, want to join in, area code 952-225-5278. National number. Outside the country, MITD 55. Outside, I'd love to hear from you outside the country. We'll be right
This is Midnight in the Desert. To call the show, if you're east of midnight, call 1-952. If you're west of midnight, call 1-952-225-5278.
Yeah, I have the storm. Something to think about. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever in the world you are. I'm Mark Bell. This is Midnight in the Desert. We're talking about what happened in San Bernardino and a lot more. Actually, we're talking about why it happened, and we're talking about what to do about it. Everybody seems pretty much in favor, well, say one guy, of gun control. So, it's kind of useless to go down that road. We can if you wish, but I'm hoping not. Hold off the false flags if you can. And back to the phones, we go. Hello, Bill.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing okay.
I'd like to tell you about how I'd like to agree with the person who spoke about how mental illness played a big part in what happened to me.
And how's that? How did it?
Desperation. It takes a certain kind of person with a certain kind of disposition to do something like that. And it takes a certain kind of desperation, and that desperation is very prevalent in society.
Okay, I want to back up for a second. I don't want to have it thought that I'm saying that what happened tonight was a result of mental illness. I have the feeling, sir, that what happened tonight is a result of somebody who believes in a new ideology spreading across the world very quickly now. That's coming out of its home in Syria. That's what I believe. That's what I think. I don't think mental illness to be committed to an idea, horrible as that idea may be.
Well, still, I was responding to the man that you had on, the doctor,
yes.
Yeah, and he was kind of talking about that, and I kind of wanted to agree with him that it's a very strong thing when people are desperate, especially single men, and that was coming down on his luck and his marriage and all that kind of stuff. And we don't know what happened, of course, but I'm just kind of agreeing with him. Like, I can see that the person that would have this position to do some crazy stuff that normally wouldn't be done, our society is kind of pushing people to be desperate, and especially men with no sort of outlet for their feelings.
All right. I thank you for the call and the comment. And please allow me to think about that a little bit. I mean, that's perhaps a general truth, but what's different here? Anybody want to try and comment on that? What's different here? There are countries all over the world where young men are desperate, generally outward, divorced, a lot of women problems. They just don't do this. So I'm searching for you. I guess we're having two different discussions. There is the mindless killer, generally white male, right, that we're talking about, and it is very prevalent in America. And yes, I am asking why is it so prevalent here in America as opposed to other countries? I think, however, it's my opinion that what happened today is motivated by something else entirely. But I could be wrong about that. We still have yet to hear from the authorities on what motivated these people. But I think I have a pretty good idea. I think you probably think we do too. Lexington, Kentucky, you're on the air. Hello? Hello. Yes, sir.
Lexington, North Carolina.
North Carolina. Well, say I can't see the last part. Sorry about that.
That's okay. It's an honor to talk to you. I have an opinion about what to do about this. You may or may not agree, but I just like to maybe say it. I think that we need to get our heads out of our cell phones, pay attention to what's going on, what's been going on the last 2 or 3 years. These Muslim extremists have been killing Christians, beheading them all over the world. Beheading Christians, and they're just killing Americans, you know, in different countries, tourists, that type of thing. I think we need to get with the people that are with America and other countries, our allies, and maybe close all of our borders just temporarily, and get together and go over here and put boots to ashes like we would back, you know, in the 70s, 60s, and 70s, and just try to eradicate it because it's a disease. These Muslim extremists. That's just my opinion, and people everybody may not agree with that.
No, everybody may not, but that's what we're here for, to let you voice it.
Well, I sure appreciate it. But I just feel like we need to take our country back. It just don't seem like the last few presidents we've had, the last 4 presidents, has had our best interests at heart by sending a lot of our jobs, a whole lot of our jobs, to other countries. It seems like we've been very passive whenever it comes to these extremists that are taking advantage of the Christian people all over the world.
Well, these are slightly different subjects. If you want to talk about economics, yes, jobs have gone to other countries, but that's because, you know, it's cheaper for the companies to do that. Simply that, it's you know, I don't mix the two. You can say, yeah, there's not as many jobs here as there might have been, but is that why people are shooting up, you know, it become a wild west around this country? I don't think that's it.
No, sir. And I'm just saying, it just seems like the country has went in a whole different direction. From what I grew up in. I was born in the mid-70s, and it just things were a whole lot different. It was very easy to get a job. You know, in those days it seemed like it was in the 70s, 80s, and even 90s, but things have just changed so much.
But something else is wrong.
That happened today.
You know, it doesn't. But there's, again, something really basic has changed. There are plenty of societies with fewer jobs by far than we have here, and yet they don't go out and do these mass killings. So there's some other factor that we're not thinking about.
I just think that the Muslim extremists is just what I hear and what I see all the time. It's just the Muslims doing it. It's the Muslims doing it. So if it is, we need to get with our allies and stand together and just put an end to this. I mean, you know, I'm not saying drop a bomb, but, you know, just get half of each branch of each country's military together.
So when you say you're in favor of closing the borders, putting up walls, that kind of thing?
Well, temporarily, until, you know, some of this stuff, you know, until we eradicate, we're never going to completely eradicate. There's a psycho born every day. But, I mean, you know, just try to nip this in the bud right now as it's getting started. We should have done this in 9/11. And if we do that, these other countries, like one of your other callers was talking about, that hate America, will set an example. You know, hey, maybe we need to chill out and not be so hard on America and quit some of this rhetoric about killing Americans and death to America, that type of thing. Set an example. But it just seems like this generation of young men and women are not interested in not paying attention to what's going on around the world.
All right, I really appreciate your thoughts. There's a psycho, you get me? There's a psycho born every day. I think there's a psycho nurture every day. We talk about nature and nurture, right? They're not born psycho. The environment is what creates that. Not quite sure. Hello there outside the country. Hello, Steve, I think it is.
Yeah, it's me again.
All right, Steve, you really got to get close to the microphone. I can't keep you on the air.
Okay, you got me now?
Well, you're better, yeah.
Okay, listen up. I think that big companies in America, I've been in Germany now for 25 years. And, if you're down on your luck over here, you still, they pay for your rent and they help you with food. In America, you don't have all that now. So if you're desperate and everything is going bad for you, you're going crazy because America is giving them money there and singing troops there, but in our own backyard, we're suffering.
So you're essentially saying socialism is the answer. If people are down on their luck, we need to feed them and house them and give them a little money.
Yeah, and give them some health insurance. There's nothing wrong with a good socialism.
Well, why don't you give them health insurance too? Why not?
Exactly. And with these guns, you guys need to stop the guns. Can you imagine? Just for example, you're
guns just getting out on their own and shooting people randomly, don't they? It's outrageous.
Let me finish my thought.
Finish your thought.
You're touring, and everybody is carrying concealed guns. Now, we have a few terrorists in there. They start shooting. So you pull out your gun and you start shooting. And somebody else can hear and think you're one of the terrorists and they start shooting. And how many people are pulling out their guns and just shooting each other? It's not going to work.
So, in other words, we kill each other, you believe?
Oh, of course. That's all we're going to end up doing is shooting each other. Friendly fire because you thought they were the terrorists because you heard gunfire and saw somebody with a gun. You think if we give them all the free stuff you talked about, that would just stop it, right? Yeah. I don't know if it would stop it, but we need to stop killing each other. And everybody running around with guns, I don't see an answer. We're not going to play the Wild West.
All right, Steve, I appreciate your call. Thank you. The View from Germany. Didn't get that much free stuff out there, folks. That's enough. Marty from somewhere out there. Hello.
It's not from that.
Yes, Crystal.
I think you mentioned guns earlier and restricted with what?
Okay, you're breaking up on me a little bit, Marty. Maybe you're not close enough to the mic. I'm not sure. Hello?
Is that any better?
That's better, yes, huh?
Yeah, it was just the guns.
Marty, you're going to have to call me back. I'm sorry, that's all broken up. Dave, you're on the air.
Thanks. This is from Montgomery, Washington. Yes. And hopefully I'm coming through clear. Most of the stuff that happened today was as a result of fear. People's reaction, you could see it in the kids in the bus and the adults. But the fear was because we didn't get any information. I think that was pretty clear. That even the people reporting what was going on were saying, gee, I don't know, by now we get some information.
Well, I do agree. They withheld, CNN, for example, withheld a lot of information for a long time.
And part of that is trust of the citizens here in the United States. I mean, there's been a lot of evolution in people's thoughts and actions, and, I guess our leaders have lost faith in us. We can't fix that. They're going to have to solve that one themselves, because we can't all afford to do, civic projects every day. But people who do get involved in civic activities are less threatened by this because they know the people who are involved and they know that, the right thing will be done. But there's no fear in my heart because I'm not afraid of what happens next. I came here on this earth to do something. I don't know what it is, but I'm here and I'm alive now, just like you are. Are you feeling a special match?
I guess.
Well, I think there's got to be dignity and there's got to be a purpose.
Dignity and purpose. I agree with that, yes.
Well, bless you and all the Oswalds to you, man.
Okay, thank you. Take care. You're on the air. Hello. Yes.
You're in a truck?
I am in a truck, yeah.
Okay.
So, I've been listening to quite a few of these people that are calling tonight, and especially the guy from Germany. I had no idea that you had this many hippies calling you. The ridiculousness that comes out of some of these people's mouths is,
Well, it's their opinion. I mean, in Germany, they do have a lot of social programs. After all, lots of them.
yeah, and that's the thing, you know, it's like the people that say that are generally not the ones that are paying for it. The problem that I see with this entire philosophy and situation that's going on, this ideology clash, people don't seem to realize on my side, the U.S. side, I'm not in any particular religion, and I think them all equally, to be honest with you. But the ideology that people are trying to change these individuals who have been force-fed this violent, hateful rhetoric since birth is never going to happen. It's hard enough to try to talk sense into a Catholic to try to see that at least there might be a possibility that there isn't a God.
Well, this fanatical thing that's spreading is amazing. To me, it's amazing how quickly it's spreading, how quickly it's taking hold. How many people who were just sort of average Muslims, I guess, suddenly get grabbed by this extremist point of view and it converts so instantly. You've got to admit it's fast.
See, that's the biggest thing, and what happened today is really the canary in the coal mine. And to call anyone a moderate Muslim is to not understand taqiyya. That's a word that is known throughout Islam. Everybody should check that word out tonight. Taqiyya. Check that out.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for the call. We're so short on time. I'm sorry. Hello there, somewhere on phone. I can't really hear you. I'm sorry. Phoenix, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me now?
I hear you.
Okay, I didn't think that was connected to Japan and Germany and the ideology to that. It's a bomb in the fall, bomb in the ball, take everything. And then with the homeland here, people need to stop when they're told to stop by the police, and we need to obey the law. Simple as that. If we just listen to what the rules are and follow them, it's good.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for the call. All right, everybody, thank you for the show. I really didn't think, Charles Osmond, thank you, buddy. We'll reschedule you, but there was no way to not talk about this tonight, and so talk about it we did. And I'm quite sure there's a very good deal of reaction. From the high desert, I'm Mark Bell. Night Bell.
This luminous object, it was enormous. It was about 11 at night. I was with a friend. It was about 12 years ago. It was overwhelming, 10 times bigger than me. It came towards us, then it turned, and it left towards the next village. It was enormous. The same shape, the same colors, very big, enormous. I saw one up there near our house. It was a disc, the colors of the sun, orange, yellow, bigger than the moon. Also, it's a red light.
Muchas veces he visto esos platillos voladores.
You said you seen flying saucers? ¿Cómo se parecen?
Platillos voladores que se descansan en el cerro.
They rest up on the mountains.
El más feo.
¿El qué?
El más feo.
there, in the worst parts of the mountains.
Sí, como este sí.
See?
Sí,
He said, yes, he's seen that's what he
la luz que se ve
said. See?
es como este color.
Yeah, the light that you can see is this color. That's it. Para una luz. Up there, white light stops up there. And then up there, para un color. That's it. The light came down. The light came down into the mountain from the sky about 11:30 at night. And as it came down onto the mountain, it looked like it raised a lot of dirt and dust. It had like a bunch of lights, a bunch of different colors. He said the same shape, more or less the same colors.
I saw these orange lights many times. They appear here and there. One time at 5 a.m., one time at 7 p.m. They are round, disc-shaped, and they have a flat dome on top. They have notches on their sides, like bitten out, and they are surrounded by light. Sometimes they are more yellowish, sometimes more reddish, sometimes they rotate.
It was about 7:30 p.m. My daughter comes home from school at that time. I went to the corner of the street to pick her up. Then I waited for her. It suddenly appeared in the sky. It was very, very big. In the middle of this round, big thing was something moving. It looked like it would change its colors. I showed it to my daughter, but she only said, "Don't look at it. Come on, let's go." But I wanted to see it. Its center pulsated. It was very large and round, very bright. It was yellow with orange
They
light.
look like the sun. They are round and have many little lights. They are yellow, orange, and white, and they appear and disappear. The light objects sometimes suddenly appear, fly, and disappear again. Most of the time, they disappear in the direction of the Tepozteco hill. Most people here have seen them. You will find that out when you ask in the town. One night, we saw this light in the mountains. We observed it through our binoculars. It was very bright, pulsated in red and orange, but was mostly red. It looked like it had landed on a hill. It was a round object. For several minutes it stayed there, then it suddenly disappeared.
We saw for several times these lights over the Cerro de la Luz. They were red and yellow and orange. They were round.
We were driving in a car when we saw this big object, as big as a bus or a truck. It was very large. It was shining in a very bright, intense light, red and yellow.
It was around 7:30 p.m. when I saw a strange luminous object standing on the Cerro de Hombre. It was an orange-colored object, round, very, very, very bright, and very, very, very big. It was brighter and bigger